Mr. David Grusch said under oath in Congress that the U.S. government is in possession of UAPs and extraterrestrial life. How can you be sure at NASA that other parts of the U.S. government is being transparent?
I don't speak for other parts of the government, but I can tell you NASA, which I speak for, is open and transparent with our data.
Do you believe what Mr. David Grusch said, or is he lying?
You would want me to give a personal opinion?
Yes, please.
Of what he said. What he said, if I recall having seen this on the nightly news, was that he had a friend that knew where a warehouse was that had an UFO locked up in a warehouse. He also said he had another friend that said that he had parts of an alien. Whatever he said, where's the evidence? Is my response.
Excuse me. He also said that he did interview over 40 employees at the Pentagon.
Long time ago, there was a TV show, Jack Friday, and he used to say, just the facts, just the facts.
Good evening, folks, and welcome to Alien Addict on a fine and on the tip of my nipples disclosure evening. And it absolutely is. These are, I don't know if it's desperate times, hard times, or exciting times we're living in, but we'll find out. But without further ado, my lad, Nick, how you doing?
I'm good, mate. Right?
You're looking well. You're looking like you're preparing for the channel is just the works of there. I think it's your channel that will reveal disclosure to the nation.
Well, possibly, yeah. Hopefully, the Nancy flying saucers, because that's what we're going to be dealing with specifically. So, yeah, time will tell. Time will tell. But I think today's, I would say, is exciting, isn't it?
It is going to be exciting. Yeah, I'll tell you this: if Nazis are involved in disclosure, God help us.
That's it.
I had I've been watching Lou reviews today. Well, I finished watching it today just before the show, and I see this guy, Ice Cream Shots, and he's like he appears on, like, I've seen him on Goofon's show, I've seen him on Cambian's show. He's an interesting chap, so I thought, let's just get the guy on. Ice Cream Shots, my lad, welcome to the show. Why you should be calling yourself Terrestrial Material.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, no, I just this has always been set up for Ice Cream Shots. But yeah, Terrestrial Material is the show that I started about 6 weeks ago at this point, and it's been a lot of fun. I try to get out there and get on other shows and get my opinion out there. Try some fun.
Well, you've got you've got six. Have you got 6 podcasts out now?
Yeah, there might be 6 or 7, because I do sometimes during the middle of the week, like a segment called 2 Scoops, where I'll just riff just myself without my co-host on maybe something that caught my eye that day, and I just want to get on there and get my opinion out at that point. Yeah.
So here you go, people. This is the channel. It is in the description. That is Terrestrial Material. I want everybody every one of you motherfuckers that is watching this right now, well, as long as you come back, go over, subscribe. In fact, let me get the link. Let me put it in the chat as well. It is in the description if you're watching this after the show, because people plug it after the show, but I always think plug it at the beginning and the end. You know, that way you're double bagging them.
Yeah, thank you, man. I really appreciate it, dude. It's a big help. You know how it is when you're starting out, dude. It's a huge help.
Yeah, mate. I was like at 60 subscribers for about I think a year. It took me to get to 60 subscribers, and then I did one video where I ate a muffin while debunking Security in 10, and everybody actually went mad that I was eating a muffin on camera. But I woke up with 1,000 subscribers, and I was like, holy shit. And that video was monetized, and then it hit nearly 50K and made me about 180 pounds overnight.
Wow.
So that was kind of like that. It monetized straight away, put it that way.
It's always the ones you don't expect, right? It's always the thing that you might turn off. You get off an episode and go, that one wasn't as good as last week, but people end up liking that one. It's so weird how that works, right?
Yeah, I mean, Nick's kind of like you. You've had a channel for a while, Nick, haven't you? But you kind of just wanting to hit the UFO stuff and get serious about the UFO stuff.
Yeah, specifically, yeah. As it's very much a hot topic. I mean, it's a favorite of mine, UFOs and paranormal, that sort of stuff.
But we were
yeah.
speaking before the show, and it's this. It seems that like there's a left and there's a right of ufology, and I don't mean that as in, well, actually a political way as well, but I also mean as in there's a right way, and if you're in this left way, then I don't know which one's the left and which one's the right way, but I think you know what I'm getting at. There's definitely a corner that you should be sat in, and there's a corner that you shouldn't be sat in. But you can have some friends in that corner that are cool as shit. But we were saying before, what does it matter? What does it matter? Why you? I mean, you were saying before that there might be some people that might not like the fact that you go on certain shows because you've been on their shows, and I feel this should never matter. That should never matter because we're just people having fun when it comes to this field. But I
mean, that's how I am about it. I mean, I just want to know what's really going on, and I want to go watch who's interesting to me. You know, I mean, if you tried to pick based off of relationships, you couldn't make a friend in this field, Ali. Like, there's no way. Everything is so split up and it's into teams, and I don't think that gets us anywhere. That doesn't progress the topic. I mean, everyone always says, compartmentalization doesn't get us forward. The UFO community is almost compartmentalizing themselves, and they don't even see that. And so, if we need to get rid of the compartmentalization in government to get some of these secrets out, be able to get more technology out to the people, if that's there, why not do that here?
Yep. Sorry, Ollie.
No.
It almost feels like like you're saying, everyone's split up in categories now. Everyone thinks they're right. And then if you don't believe what I believe, then therefore I'm not going to listen to you. You're not going to be on my channel. It's almost like this narcissistic behavior that's just appeared out of nowhere. I'm like with you, Ice Cream. I like to listen to everyone's opinion. I always look at both sides of the story and try not to take it too seriously. Honestly, we ain't going to find the truth, really. But it's good to have ideas from everybody and just kind of have fun with it, and try not to get too angry and upset.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the problem is that over time, when the evidence becomes less and less and people get let down more and more, it's people kind of turn on each other for maybe content or just for some, I guess just content, really. Because they have nowhere else to look.
Is that how you see it?
Yeah, I think they just start pointing the gun. We point the guns at each other because we don't have anywhere else to point them anymore. And that's kind of my biggest fear for this topic at this point, is that it'll end up cannibalizing itself because we get let down a lot because nothing typically comes out as any kind of fact at all. I mean, I can't really see a whole lot of proof out there for Grusch or especially these Nazca mummies, everything that's going on with that. I mean, there's no proof of any of that. Most of it's hoaxed. So yeah, I mean, you have to talk about something. What do you think, Ali?
Well, hence the title of the show, which is, what is it? NASA Asks David Grusch for facts. I find that really hypocritical, because we've been asking NASA for the facts for years when it comes to any of this type of stuff, and then all of a sudden they're in Team UFO, UAPs, sorry, not UFOs. I do find it weird that his name got brought up by that guy, and Bill, is it Bill Nelson?
Yeah.
Bill Nelson didn't. So he knew the story, but didn't know the story, because he said, and correct me if I'm wrong here, which I probably am, because I was saying to you before, I scream, I am no ufologist. Sometimes the information goes in, it just goes straight back out. But I don't think Grusch said that he had a mate that had a UFO in a hangar and then has got a load of bodies in this hangar. He said that there were bodies, non-human. He didn't say where they were. He didn't say where the craft were. And Bill just kind of pulled that out from nowhere. Am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong. From what I recall Grusch saying is that he knew that there were pilots, but he said he knew where stuff was, but he was never specific enough to say it's in a hangar somewhere. For everything that I remember from that hearing, he just said, hey, I can tell you what's going on, specific locations and things, obviously in a skiff. But it wasn't anything to do with an actual hangar. No, I mean, it's kind of maybe telephone for Bill Nelson. I don't know how much he really pays attention. And that could be on purpose. He might, if he feels he doesn't want to taint his own view of the situation. And maybe, I don't know. What do you think? I'm sorry, Ali, go ahead.
No, I thought Nick had frozen then.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm looking at chat. Sorry. Sorry, I was keeping up with chat.
Yeah, what do you think, mate?
Well, all this, with NASA and everything?
With NASA addressing, the question was asked. What was it? What was the actual question?
It was a hard-hitting question.
He said, what do you think, to David Grusch and the UFO and the aliens? And basically, Bill Nelson knew exactly what he was talking about. But he said, I've seen it on a news article, on the news. Didn't mention anything about Congress, the congressional hearing, but he saw it on the news. I'm sure he's more likely to have seen it at the congressional hearing than on News Nation, but he saw it on News Nation.
Yeah, he was hitting the hard questions. Those are the questions I wanted to ask when I was listening through this hearing. And I'm going to be honest with you, he was cut off at the end. Did you notice that? He was pushing the questions, which was great. I thought, yes, he's getting to the nitty gritty. But it felt like NASA was holding back. NASA, what does it stand for? Never a straight answer. NASSholes, as I call them. Do you know if that's the other word for him? This whole thing, what happens, which is a complete waste of time. It really proved nothing. And for me personally, they're saying they're looking for extraterrestrials. Okay, what they've made forward is that they're looking for microbiotics and microbacteria and stuff like that. They're not looking for UFOs. It doesn't sound like that. Really.
Yeah,
they're not looking. I mean, so if they saw a UFO, how are they going to prove that's going to be extraterrestrial? They said themselves, they have no. The quote is here is there's. They haven't found any evidence of UAPs linking to an extraterrestrial origin. I mean, how are you going to find that? By finding a dot in the sky? Do you see what I'm saying? It just feels like it's like a complete waste of time. I think they're just jumping on this bandwagon like it is, this old gravy train, trying to get some views, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, because they are looking into it, that's what they say. But where the information is coming from, they might as well go to the Pentagon or the intelligence agency and get their documents, because Grusch says, the documents are out there. We all know the documents are there. But why don't NASA just go and grab them themselves and look into it?
Do you believe Grusch, Nick, then? Do you believe him?
Do you know what, mate? I flip-flopped. I'm a bit of a flip-flopper. I watched that interview. I watched that interview he did with, what was it called? You sent it to me, Ollie, the one we were going to do a show on. Grusch did an interview not long ago. I can't remember the name of the channel. It was like an hour and a half.
Oh, you're on
And
about
from what
you're on about the latest interview with Jesse.
that's it. Yeah.
What's his name? What's it? Jesse. I can't think of his
Jesse
surname.
something.
It was an entertaining interview anyway. Is he Jesse Marcel?
Oh, Jesse Michael.
Is it Michael?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
latest
Jesse
interview they did
Michael.
with Grusch. Yeah.
Yeah, I enjoyed that. To be fair,
I did enjoy it.
A lot of people shit on it. I quite enjoyed it.
Yeah, we
But
didn't
no,
really
that's the
get it.
thing.
Oh, go ahead, Dick. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to say like that's the thing now. Everyone wants to shit on it, but I was really paying attention to what he was saying. It sounded coherent. It sounded like he wasn't lying. For me, I believe what he was told, but what he's seen, that's all talked about in the skiff. That's what I want to find out. Because he's still reluctant. He's holding back a bit, which is okay. It's understandable. Because he hasn't really got the clearance yet to pull out this information. And that's what people need to understand as well. He's not going to bring out a box of material and say, here you are, guys. Here's all the evidence for disclosure. It's not going to work like that. I think it's going to be a long process. This is it.
He's had none.
This is it. He says, who knows, mate? I'm a bit 50-50 on Grusch. I was bashing him, first of all, because I just didn't believe anyone through ufology. It was just let down so many times.
Nick, don't get me wrong. I don't think there's any right or I don't think anybody can give you a right or wrong answer about Grusch because no motherfucker knows. Nobody knows.
Yeah, no one knows. Yeah. So
it's whether you trust him as a human being. Do you feel like he is telling the truth in your heart, or do you look at that guy and think that guy's a liar? I'll tell you something. I do see he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah, he seems legit, and I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt for now. I did shit on him first of all, like I did with many ufologists. People that whistleblowers that come
he's
forward.
Not a ufologist. He's just
not a ufologist. The people that come forward in the field saying, "Yeah, I've got all this, material and stuff like that," which they don't. I've been let down so many times. I've been in this field long enough. I think, okay, yeah, but I'm going to give him the benefit of doubt. Give it a couple of months. And then, or by the end of the year, and see what happens. But I am 50-50 on Grusch, I have to admit.
Yeah, I mean, I was willing to give him a chance at the very start, because a lot of people said, he obviously doesn't have evidence when he gets to the hearings. But I said, well, let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's let him get in the skiff, talk to Congress, and maybe we can get somewhere as far as that. I mean, if he does have something to say, because even if it's classified, guys, we would still know based off of actions. Like if he went in there and said, hey, look, Boeing's got the stuff, EG&G's got the stuff, Lockheed's got the stuff, and here's where it is. Who do you think that Congress would be pulling in next? They'd pull in people from Lockheed. They'd pull in people from EG&G or Boeing. So we wouldn't know probably exactly what he said, but actions sometimes speak louder than words. And I was willing to wait and see if that was possible. But the issue is when Chris Mellon put out that tweet and was like, hey, look, doesn't look good. Doesn't look good for any more hearings that are coming out. And then now Burchett is saying that they're not going to give him a clearance. If they can't get him in there, how is he different than any other former military guy that's came out at this point? Unfortunately, I just don't see much of a difference.
You see, Ice Cream, I was convinced that Mellon had something to do with this to start off with. I thought that Mellon was one of the guys that Grusch had been speaking with.
I'm sure he did. I think Grusch has spoke to a lot of people. I think he's talked to Eric Davis, Hal Puthoff. I think a lot of those people in Elizondo's crew, the OSAP, and that whole team, I think he has, man. I think that's honestly where his information is coming from. Mainly because I think the people that really work with this stuff, man, you've never heard of them. And I just don't know if they have enough of an incentive to come out and drop that kind of a whistleblower situation, not only just for their lives, but just other reasons that could be why the secrecy is in place to start with,
So what you think that if these people that spoke to Grusch is legit, well, legit as in that they did say it to him, whether they're legit or not, but he heard it from them. Even if we got introduced to these people, we'd have no idea who these people are.
For sure. If it's legit, for sure. Because you have to think about it this way. Let's say they were able to retrieve some crashes in the 30s and 40s and all that's real. Roswell's real. They would have had the secrecy would have to be good enough to where this stuff, like really good as evidence, hasn't came out just yet. If it will, but it hasn't ever come out. So that means we've never spoke to those people. The secrecy would be good enough to keep those people hidden at this point. I just don't see that he would have got access, because I don't even know if Sean Kirkpatrick really got access the way that he said he did. I mean, he said I can go anywhere I want. I don't really know if there's even full proof of that. I mean, he's saying that, but he can say whatever he wants.
Do you just to back up slightly onto the NASA thing? So this whole hearing that NASA's going to be really transparent when it comes to UAPs and all that jazz. Do you think that NASA's going to end up approaching any of the people that we know in ufology other than Kirkpatrick from Arrow?
No, I when they brought up in the at the conference there with NASA yesterday, when the guy said, I can't remember his name, but he said, we have these cell phones and we take great video. We should have all these videos coming in for the public. I don't see how they care about video from the public. I don't think they care one bit. They're going to get so much grainy video. Could you imagine if they opened up a portal, guys, for people to just upload videos, how much junk they would have to go through?
I was listening to Goof on this morning. He said he was streaming that, and he goes, well, you know what? I'm going to send him my UFO.
I mean, go ahead. I mean, anybody could, if anybody can send anything they want, but that's why I don't think that they're going to. And that's why when they were bringing up, some reporters were asking the Pentagon spokesperson, with the Arrow website, are they going to allow people to upload? It's like, no, I just don't see how they could fund through all that. I don't think the Pentagon wants to talk about it at all. I don't think NASA does, Ali. I don't think NASA wants to deal with this at all.
What's the deal with it then? Why is NASA getting involved?
Because I think that there's a link. That's just a hunch I have. Not saying it's fact, but I think that there's a link between obviously the Pentagon and NASA. And I think we're seeing that NASA is maybe not as free and belonging to the people itself than we think. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll give you a real hot take. I think that the guy who's leading the program for NASA, leading this UAP program, is from the Pentagon. I think he's from Arrow. I think that Arrow appointed him. Is actually what I should say. Excuse me. I think that I think he's from NASA. Let me take that back. I guess I explained it wrong here. I think he's from NASA, but I think NASA doesn't appoint it though. I think it's Arrow that appointed it.
That's a good point, because they didn't disclose who the director was of the part of the task force to look into the UAP program. That's his program anyway, which I found very suspicious.
Twitter's gone mad with that.
Yeah, but they gave us an excuse. Okay, yeah, there's a lot of trolls out there, there's a lot of people, but they put that very forward, saying, oh no, we're getting threats and all this. It's all, oh, you don't deserve to have this. It's like, okay, guys, okay, it's going to come out at some point. But I found it very suspicious they didn't disclose the name. But you're right, Ice Cream. I reckon it's probably down to someone down to the Pentagon Intelligence Agency, I reckon.
Well, yeah, the Pentagon is they're not interested in telling us about this, guys. That's what Arrow's doing. That's what the website's all about. It is all about creating this black hole that they can start taking the narrative back. I mean, when the narrative went south for them in 2017, I think they've just been figuring out, how do we do this? How do we get this back and shut this down? And so when they weren't doing anything and they were planning since 2017, it felt like maybe they were kind of allowing it and maybe they really wanted to do disclosure. It's like, no, they were just being quiet and in the lab with a pen and a pad, like Dr. Dre said, figuring out how they were going to do this. And I think when they involve Arrow and then you link that with NASA, this is where the mainstream media, this is where all the reporters are going to go look for the answers. And that's where they're going to ask. And if they get nothing, they'll turn away and they'll be able to control the narrative again. They're not going to ask us, guys. Ali, the reporters aren't going to come talk to us and ask us any questions. Yeah.
It's always the mainstream media. It's always the big people. I mean, if you type UFOs in YouTube, you get Fox News, CNN, News Nation, but the independent people like us, they won't even touch us for barge pole. They get someone like Nick Pope to do the interviews for him.
I will say this. I wish Lee was here right now because I know what he would say. He would say he thinks this is leading somewhere. And that conspiracy side of me that's still existing, because let's face it, for all the bashing that the UFO field has had over the years, I think it's taken away some of the actual excitement when it comes to this field, and some of that conspiracy has been flattened by some of the people who would have never trusted government in their lives ever, and now they're going, well, NASA said this, so like take Lou for example. Lou Reviews. I said to you before, Ice Cream, I think Lou's great. I think he's a great guy. I do think that something's happened along the line that's just kind of flattened that curiosity and just put it down to no, but what's the facts? If NASA says it, if so-and-so says it, those are the facts that I only care about that. I don't care about the little bit of woo that's still there, that's still piquing my interest. Now, the conspiracy side of me would say, well, hang about, they're coming out with looking at UAPs. Just UFOs, whatever. I wish they'd call them UFOs still, but never mind.
I do. I'm going back to doing that again. I'm done with UAP. It didn't get us anywhere. I'm done. I'm going back to UFO.
Yeah, same, absolutely same. It's almost like it's forced, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It's like think about who made the mockery out of UFO. It was the mainstream media. It's like there was a lady who was asking the question to one of the NASA persons, and she said, "Oh, it's something to do with the stigma around the word UFO and UAP."
Yeah, that's bullshit.
And she said, "Oh yeah, a lot of it can be blamed on X-Files." So thinking, hold on, honey, you work for the BBC. You were the company, the organization that were slamming the UFO in people that were even deemed to like believe in UFOs. It's been going on for like decades and decades. It's such a stigma behind it, and these are the people that's created it. You know, I think we should go back to UFO and have some I don't know about revolution over it or something like that. You know what I'm saying? You know,
no, I think you're right. I think you've seen a lot of reporters already do that though. I feel like I've started to see a lot of people shuck UAP right off and just go back to UFO at this point.
Yeah.
What I'm saying though is, like, most of us that are in the chat now, the subscribers that are watching this after the show, you wouldn't have trusted any of these guys ever. Now you do. All of a sudden you trust them. You're like, these guys are going to look into it. These guys are debunking it. So that's the truth. Right there, that is the truth.
Well, there's a lot of desperation. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of desperation, though. I mean, we're all against it until we think we might actually get something, and then we're going to run to wherever, we're going to get our next meal. I mean, we'll at least give them a chance. Which I don't blame anybody for thinking that. They're thinking that something is coming. There's definitely a route that you can carve out that looks like that, for sure. It's just depending on your perspective. This whole field is all about perspective, and what you think, and that's kind of why I think most of us shouldn't fight as much as we do with each other, because it's just no one really has the answer. Let's just hear each other out more.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we need to share ideas, and like I said, it's like this almost like narcissism that's come with the ufology all of a sudden. And it's in the last like 5 years, it's gone like really bad. Like we've been split off in categories, almost like it's been done on purpose. Or is it just people's gone, oh no, I'm right, therefore, other people should believe me? Like, again, it's this very like two-headed sort of narcissism that sort of comes with the territory now, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, my original belief on a lot of this was that all of the whistleblowing, everything with Graves and NASA and Arrow, everything was really just meant, especially with Lou Elizondo, was meant to fill this giant balloon of excitement and get everybody possible together. All the media, all the public, we believe, and get right up there, get it really, really big, and then pop that balloon and end anybody looking into this topic anymore. Just the ultimate stigma. There's nothing here. I thought they were originally looking to bury this with this for the final time, so they didn't have to deal with it anymore.
I see. That's
Yeah,
interesting
originally.
take. Yeah,
Yeah.
because Lou says, I mean, Rich and Goofon, he always plays the clip of Lou Elizondo talking about, I'm not a ufologist, I work for the intelligence agency. And people don't
Yeah, it's a
see
good
that.
clip.
People like my dad still believes in Elizondo. I said, look at this clip, Dad. Like, come on. I mean, this guy's a fucking fraud for Christ's sake. And but he believes we're gonna have disclosure tomorrow, and then nothing happens, and then it'll be
No.
oh, don't worry, it'll be
Nick, don't get me wrong. I believe in Lou 100% because
Lou Elizondo.
Lou believes what he's doing is right. He's doing it for his country. Those were his orders. That's what he had to do.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't think
Yeah.
Lou's a bad guy. I think Lou's doing his job.
I thought he's counterintelligence, isn't he? So he's a trained liar. That's what they do when you work for these agencies.
For what? But then there's a bigger question: for what reason?
I think to push people in different directions.
No, but he must whatever his game is, and I don't believe it's the game that he's telling us. Whatever it is, I believe he believes he's doing the right thing. I don't believe he's a bad person. I don't believe in bad people like that. I think people have a role, and they get given. They say, like, this is what I want you to do. Like we were speaking before about our jobs, ice cream. There's things that you do sometimes to people that you may not want to do, but it's just the way you're going to get by. And when it comes to your country, who's to say he's not doing the right thing? Has anybody ever thought about that? That guy may not be the enemy that we think he is. He may be far from that.
Well, that may be true, but I think that he also definitely doesn't have all the answers that he says he has, though. Because I think when you look at those 3 videos that they got out, those really aren't that great of videos, Ali. So he couldn't have had his arm too deep in the cookie jar to bring out very much. If anything, Grusch has more to say and more to show than Lou ever did, for bringing up, like, actually saying things. Lou wouldn't really talk too much. I mean, he would say little things here or there, like, I can't remember who asked him in the interview, if everyone knew what you knew tomorrow, what would be the feeling of everyone? And he said, sobering or somber. And it's like, okay, but explain why, tell us more than that. He was the king of just like putting you right at that edge and then just bailing out with anything further,
What if these people only... Maybe they're only a couple of steps ahead of us when it comes to information. And even then, they probably what they've heard is just here. I can never say that word. Like what we call Grusch has heard. Yes,
hearsay.
Yeah, that's the one. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Maybe that's what they all get given, and they go on it. They go on a whim, or they go on the faith in the people that are telling them it. I don't think Grusch is a bad person either. I think he believes whatever he has been told. And as for his him being discredited because of his past with PTSD, we spoke about that. And Dave said something really interesting. He just says, what soldier that has been to war has not come back and been affected by it? One of my best mates has been to war. He came back a different person. In what way? We put it this way: he drinks a lot. He drinks a lot and doesn't speak about it. But when you've had a few beers down, he'll speak about it, and he doesn't take anything for it. But I mean, I'm not going to speak on his behalf, but he's done some things that he's not proud of. In some ways, he is proud of it, but in others, he's not, because it's affected him.
Sure, I understand.
So I think, especially if you get to the level that he was at, he must have done some things. He's only human, and then Cambion brings up the autism. Okay, so He's autistic. I get that. I get why you would bring that up. But
it shouldn't be made a mockery of.
no,
No
but
fairness.
Nick, I'm autistic. You're autistic. Ice Cream's autistic.
all-
Every
We all are autistic.
every
Yeah.
motherfucker
Sure, I'll take
on,
it.
on the every motherfucker on this planet is on the spectrum, some higher than others, and some of those autistic people are just insanely good at stuff. My wife's sister, she's extremely autistic. She cannot, unfortunately, she can't work because of it. She can't function in society like normal people can. But I tell you something, I give her anything mathematical, she will boom straight away like that. Certain people are on a certain spectrum when it comes to autism, and it can be at a massive benefit to that person. It's like I'm dyslexic, and I can do art stuff pretty good. You give me a book to read, I'm fucked. You know, I don't think that he wouldn't be given this because of this. He may be given that job because he is like that. Because the way he functions is perfect for that job. Now, going forward, what happens next, I have no idea with this, because I do agree with Cambion when it comes to the whole the clock that he's put up with the 90 days. I don't know what we're going to get from it, if anything. I would, and I'm sure Cambion would actually like himself to be wrong with this. I'm sure Lou would, because I think if something did come of this, people would, what do they call it? Eat crow? Is it eat crow that you Americans
Eat your
say?
hat, yeah. Eat your hat.
People would.
Yeah, but Cambion, he thinks that there is, at the very root of it all, there's at least something going on. I mean, he said that on that panel, man. And he's like, yeah, he goes, I'm like you. I still think there's something here. You know, it's just, you have to dig through so much, bro. That's such a hard part of ufology, going through it.
Oh, thank you, Jennifer. And she's
Jennifer.
right. Something's coming down the pipeline. I know the feeling there, Jennifer. Me and Lee have spoke about this many times. Dave laughs at us. It does feel like something is brewing. It feels, Lee says it pretty much on every show now. It feels like something is just in the pipeline and it's just going to boil over. He doesn't say it's terrifying. He says it's fantastic times he's living through it. But I get what you're saying there. It does feel like it's something. It feels like a pot that's just about to overflow. What it's going to overflow with, I have no idea. But like Ice Cream, you go on a lot of shows when it comes to like listening to. We were speaking about this before, that you've been in this field for quite some time, watching all the shows. When it comes to everything that's going on right now, do you feel like we're going to get something? Do you feel like there's the big disclosure is coming, or something's in the pipeline?
I think it's always possible, mainly because I'm not sold that this is our technology, that we were able to like break anti-gravity in the 30s or 40s, and we simply had the only two scientists that were ever able to figure it out. I mean, I think if it was something that we didn't back engineer, that somebody somewhere else, some other physicist would have figured this stuff out by now as well. It's been too long, you know. So I think that there is something that's possible in the background. The problem is that every time that we as ufology get into a position that gets attention, we just drop the damn ball too much. You know, and this is my biggest issue with like Corbell and Knapp at this point. And I look at them, I think I mentioned this a little bit on Lou's thing, is I don't really look at them as more of like YouTube creators. They're more like public figures. So I just put them in a different bracket. I don't have any mind scrutinizing them a little bit more. But this is what my problem is with them is they act like they're so interested in disclosure, but they don't drag Bob Lazar down there before Grusch. Why is Grusch there before Lazar? If they think Lazar is real, if they think that the 115 is something that he has. I mean, I know George Knapp is on record saying he knows where it is. Why are they not doing this stuff? Why are we continuing to take things that are going to for sure most likely fall flat on their face? Like these Nazca mummies that they just brought out. Graves goes down there and he's the face that they kind of want to legitimize the hearing with and say, hey, the U.S. is kind of interested in this, or they're in it with us too. And here these.
Did you see
what
his
I mean?
face when they came out?
Hey man, look, here's the thing. Graves is probably a good guy. He's probably a very smart guy, but even smart people can just be hoodwinked, man.
Did you see the tweet he put out?
Yeah. Well, of course. How could you not at that point? But he's bad. He's muddy now. He's going to take a long time to wash that off, Ollie.
Yeah, but, I mean,
So what did Grusch tweet? Because I'm not on Twitter.
Graves.
Graves.
Graves. Sorry.
I'll bring it up for you. The tweet.
Yeah, please do. I'm not on Twitter, so I have no idea what.
I did retweet it. I felt bad for him. I didn't even put a comment behind it. Like, I just retweeted it because I thought, Jesus Christ, wow.
I wish I knew behind the scenes how well those guys got along, like Fravor, Graves, Grusch, Elizondo, all of them, how they really got along though. I wonder, because in any group of friends, there's always like one or two that don't, or people that are just kind of friends, or maybe they have some kind of argument behind the scenes, and when they see Graves go down there, kind of walking the plank, they don't stop him,
So there you go, mate. That is the that is, I don't know if you can see that, Nick. So
I could just about see that. Yeah, sweet man. Cheers.
So I was trying my best to. I can say I'm dyslexic, unless anyone.
You want me to read it?
If you wouldn't mind,
No,
mate,
yeah, I can read it in my head, but when I speak it out loud, it's all right. Joe Biden. So if you can read it for me, I scream that'd be
yeah,
amazing.
no problem. This is where I'm going to offer to read it, and I'm going to bomb on it. Okay. So this is from Ryan Graves. He tweets, after the U.S. congressional UFO hearing, I accepted an invitation to testify before the Mexican Congress, hoping to keep up the momentum of government interest in pilot experiences with UAP. Unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards for this issue. My testimony centered on sharing my experience and the UAP reports I hear from commercial and military aircrew through ASA's Witness program. I will continue to raise awareness of UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security, and science, but I am deeply disappointed by the wow, all the way till the end, unsubstantiated stunt.
Oh, well, he's spot on, man. Yeah, I said this before the show. This is a massive 10 steps back. Like I said, when I saw Hani Musan, I thought, oh God, what is he going to do? And I was just waiting. I knew he was going to do something. I was just waiting for it. And when I saw those two mummies, paper mache, bloody, I was on the floor laughing. I thought, what have you done? Thank you so much.
Just before that, he mentioned David Grusch as well.
Because it's all in different language. I could not.
Yeah, but you can hear David Grusch. You can hear David Grusch.
Oh,
You mentioned it, did he?
Yeah.
Right. Okay, I gotcha.
So, again, if that conspiracy side of me comes out, where this is the weather balloon. These mummies, that is the weather balloon of Roswell, because that has put a massive barrier now. And I know, well, we're going to do a show about this Sunday. Who knows, the boys, Dave and Lee, they might have a different opinion on this. I mean, that's the thing with Alien Addict. The reason we kind of gel, because all three of us, sometimes we agree, sometimes we disagree. Sometimes one goes completely woo and the other one just goes completely in the opposite direction. But we're going to be talking about this on Sunday.
I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, what the mainstream media has done
I'm
now.
going to use Grusch like that for many a thing. And I just think it works.
I mean, if you look at what the mainstream media has done, they've made a mockery out of it. everyone is going, this looks so fake. I've showed everyone this photograph, and they said this looks so fake. But the media are making a mockery out of it now. To say,
Well-
look how stupid it's gone so far. It's just like, no, this is, he's not really part of, he's a fraud, Hani Massan, he's like.
Well, I mean, I'll bring a little bit of Sunday's intro in now because can't be asked to find the clip.
Has NASA been in touch with the Mexican authorities about the rather sensational revelations earlier this week of 2 allegedly non-human corpses? And what, if any, importance do you attach to these discoveries?
I think David had a prep for that one.
Well, this is something that I know I've only seen on Twitter. So it's, when you have unusual things, you want to make data public. I think of this as like NASA has one of the most valuable samples from outer space, lunar rocks. What do? We make them available to any scientists who want to work on this. We don't know the nature of those samples that were shown in front of them. If I was the Mexican government, I would are making recommendations to the Mexican government. That's not our charge here. We're doing this for NASA. My recommendation was, if you have something strange, make samples available to the world scientific community, and we'll see what's there.
I'll just add that one of the main goals of what we're trying to do here today is to move conjecture and conspiracy towards science and sanity, and you do that with data, as David says.
I mean, I don't get why they even addressed it. If NASA thinks it's that ridiculous, why address it? And this is not me saying I don't think it's ridiculous. This is me saying,
I got you.
why is Grusch in this NASA presentation?
He shouldn't be. I don't know why the question even came up. It had no relevance to anything. Those are the moments when I'm watching that stuff, guys, where I just kind of like, ask a good question, especially after they wouldn't give us the name of the leader of the UAP group that they're doing, and they wouldn't tell us the budget. Like, before you ask, wait a second, where's the transparency here? How do we believe that if you won't tell us simply who's running this thing? That should have been the next question, which I know later on down they asked, but like, then you get that guy asking about that. Who cares? Who cares what NASA thinks really about that at the end of the day? I mean, I don't think it's going to change what they're going to do.
I just find it. I did like the answer. Don't get me wrong, because it's almost like if it is alien, then you need to send that thing, around.
Yeah.
Send somebody the arm, send somebody the head. Let us all have a look at it.
Because they made it public. They've made it public, haven't they? The sort of the MRI scan and the DNA, the malarkey that goes with it. With this.
Oh yeah, and that, don't get me wrong, that MRI scan looks fucking amazing. And anybody that says it doesn't look good, it looks great. That's a proper MRI scan. The only thing with that, I can model make. Yeah, my son's bashed this one about, but like that, is something that I started to mess about with. I'll make a proper alien one day. But this, if I put underneath this this is it's something called it's monster clay. So you yeah, I'm planning on doing the hoax. I'll put it on a different channel. You won't know it's me. If you got a resin skull, okay, and you did that, then you had that hollowed out, you put some shit inside it, literally shit, some other stuff, a bit of spinach, everything like that, then you put some other layers around it, then you put some sort of like paper mache stuff, whatever, round the side, you MRI'd that thing would have different layers. That's what that's like. So you see those bits where it's got all the blood on the MRI. How do we do not know what software is being used for that thing, and that's where it needs to be sent to somebody else to give it an MRI scan. So
yeah,
NASA right there is spot on. That thing needs to be. If that thing's real, send it out.
Yeah, they should have done that already. They should have already done that before they even rolled them out there. You know, that's what all is so suspect to me is why wouldn't you have sent that thing to the States? I mean, it's because it's a hoax, but
it's not even theirs. It's Peruvian. It's from Peru.
So did I hear correctly? Didn't they actually desecrate this to get these so-called mummies? Because I'm hearing different
allegedly,
things.
Allegedly, they who was it that I think Lou called them grave robbers, and Cambion said that they've robbed graves. Now I don't know if they've robbed graves or they've just found some bones, which I suppose it's kind of similar. But if you, I'll say it's distasteful to put, and they're probably children's bones inside a little tiny thing.
I reckon it was probably animal bones, to be honest with you.
Well, no. So some of the bones from the first one, which was the what was it called? Ice cream. That one that was kind of like had the hands that like. I forgot the name of the thing.
Yeah, I can't remember the name. That was 2016. That was a while ago.
Yeah, but they looked at that one. That was from Jaime as well.
Yeah, it was.
And that one had what they found was human bones, but they found other bones, and they said, "Well, these bones aren't even attached. They're in the wrong places for a start." And it's how can you then? It's like the boy that cries wolf. You can't look at that, and then he presents this in front of the Mexican Congress and go, holy shit, that's real. The others were, but that one is. Unless that's the beauty of it. Unless that's the beauty of it.
Well, I think everybody else there on that panel, they don't look into this stuff though. I mean, they've never heard of this stuff before. Jaime could go pull one over on them probably pretty easily at that point. I don't even know why they did this though, guys. Why do you guys, Ali, Nick, why do you think they even did this hearing?
Yeah, do you know that baffles me as well, because they haven't I know they mentioned about the program sometime last year, so I think it was scheduled for something to come out, like a press conference was due to have one, but it really did absolutely nothing. It says, oh, well, there's no link for UAPs linked to extraterrestrials. Yeah, well, we know that, until we get the proof of it. But their side of what they're studying, they're looking for like bacteria on planets. They're looking for planets that is a bit similar to ours. But for me, they're not.
So are you talking about the NASA hearing or the Mexican hearing?
I was asking about the Mexican hearing.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, because we were talking about the mummies. So we were talking about the mummies. So I'm thinking, I mean, because this went really bad. So these guys don't really know much about it. I wonder why they did it in the first place.
Yeah.
Well, just one moment, just to thank Jen for that super chat. I appreciate that, Jen. And you've reminded me that we've had Jennifer on before. Jennifer did some work for Stephen Greer, fell out with him. Well, no, she didn't fall out with him. You have to watch the show. She was concerned about a friend, and Greer didn't seem to give a shit. But Jennifer did some work on do you remember the little Anaconda?
Oh yeah.
She did
Anaconda alien, yeah.
Yeah, she did some work.
That's
on that
cool.
With him.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was an interesting show actually. But yeah, I mean that as well. It's just reminding me this has not been the first time we have had a small alien-like body that we've then looked at and gone, well, hang about, this is human. This has human and human aspect to it. Like that Anaconda thing, though, the only thing that I will say with that to kind of have Greer's back is it was so strange how all of a sudden Gary Nolan is Team Greer, then he flipped and went straight over to TTSA and went, it's human, it's human fetus, and it's very rare. It has so many genetic blah 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 wrong with it. It has something that made its bones seem older than normal, and all this stuff that some of the stuff didn't actually add up. So it did get me thinking about that. That what if there was something a bit weird about that? Because I didn't trust the fact that Nolan went to TTSA, then TTSA published it. It was almost like a big fuck you, Stephen Greer.
Yeah, do you think that? Do you wonder about that? Do you think that was set up
Well, no,
to do that?
that is exactly how it happened. Stephen Greer,
Yeah.
he went live like a few days later. He looked fuming. He had all this paperwork with him. He's going through it, and he's going, and it's almost like saying, "Gary Nolan, you motherfucker."
No, but what I mean is, like, do you think there was like malice intent to it? Like, on top of just like releasing, hey, this is what we think it is. Do you think they were trying to sink him? I mean, I know Elizondo hates him, but
I do think there was a bit of a sync thing with Greer. As much as I do think Greer definitely does a hell of a lot of things wrong in this field.
Yeah.
So do a lot of other people. I do think there is some. I do think there's definitely a curiosity with Greer when it comes to the UFO field, and I think he did have a curiosity with this thing. Hence, he got Gary Nolan involved. That I find it odd because a lot of people accuse Gary Nolan of a grift, and like he started with Greer. People forget that. Loads of people in this field have no idea that Gary Nolan actually started, but in the Serious Disclosure Project.
yeah, the first time I ever heard about him was when they did the documentary with Atacama. That was the first time I'd seen Gary Nolan, when he was sitting in there looking at all the DNA and everything like that. Yeah, but the Atacama looked way more convincing, though, of possibly something than the Nazca stuff does, though.
Yes,
it's not even close.
Absolutely, yeah.
It's not even close.
Did you notice the way that they were handling these these Peru mummies as well? Like just picking them up and placing them on a table. It's like, if you've got an alien in your hand, you're gonna they put them in like tiny little square coffins with like felt, and laid them in it like that. I mean, respectful. Don't get me wrong, because if it's real human bones, that's very respectful. That's the only respectful thing you did. But then when you see them doing like tests, and he just grabs it and he's like puts it on a table, it's like if that is like mind-blowing evidence of an extraterrestrial being or a creature that we have no idea what it is, I would guarantee that thing would be handled with the utmost care. Not just grabbed in the middle of its body and gone, oh, it's all right. No, we know it's strong. We know what it's made of.
Well, yeah, I mean, especially when if they drop it and the arm breaks, all the candy falls out. I mean, now we know for sure it's fake.
Do you know what? It's so weird that the aliens, mummified aliens, were such in like perfect condition, just straight. You know what I mean? It's almost like alien autopsy sort of way. You know, it's just it was not curved. It wasn't. You know, if it was alleged, we didn't say it was crashed here. It's been there for thousands of years. God knows how it's got here. Probably just originated from Earth, but no one dies like straight like that unless they're on a bed or something like that. But it's just too perfect.
Well, this is what you bring up a good point, Nick, because what I seen when I first seen the Nazca mummies, and I seen it again when you look at these guys here, that it looks like it's modeled almost off of Pompeii. Like they looked at like the victims from Pompeii, how they were put in like dispositions, you know, they were just ash on them. It's the same look. And I wonder how much of influence went into that when they were designing them.
It's so weird you say that. That's what Lee was saying to me the other night about
if you look closely.
Yeah, it looks like it.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's almost like a white ash.
Yeah.
Is it I forgot the name of it. Somebody put it in the chat. I think is it diorite? Am I getting that wrong?
Oh, I don't know about that one.
I think they said it's like some sort of is it it's like an instant fossilization almost, and it's totally preserved it and
Yeah.
made it rock solid. That thing can take anything now. You could just hurl that thing over your shoulder. But sorry, Ice Cream, back to your question. What do we think it was all about, the Mexican hearing? I mean, if I wanted to say to you, outdo the Americans, maybe. I don't think it's that. I think these things are probably planned way, way ahead. I think there's a bigger game here. And that I put my conspiracy hat on again here, because if something's been boiling over for quite a few years now, we need these kind of things for these things to work. I think something possibly in the American hearing was correct. Something about that was right, and that this is my opinion. The Mexican hearing, I think, was there to deflect and almost say, make the House of Cards fall apart. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I mean, it would have done it's done a pretty good job. I mean, we haven't seen all the fallout yet, because you have to wait still even a little while. Even if you have pictures of, supposed aliens from a country, it takes a little while to trickle out, and get all the way out to everybody else. So it's hard to say exactly what the fallout's going to look like at this point. Nick, what do you think?
My personal opinion is that the Mexican hearing was going to happen, but who got Jaime Maussan in to be the highlight of the actual hearing itself? Because he's not a credible person. Okay, he's almost like a celebrity in Mexico, but he's not credible at all. If he had the hearing a bit like the American style, how they went for it, I think it made it a bit more credible. But like you said, Ollie, they probably most likely put Heine there to really deflect the actual subject completely, to really make a mockery out of it, knowing he was going to put these mummies in there. That's my opinion, personally. I think it'd be good to get other countries involved, to have their own hearing, because I think that is to be expected. Like I said before, so why is it just America who's going to have disclosure? Everyone's experiencing around the world UFO, so it'd be good to have more countries coming forward and do it more professionally. But what we saw in Mexico was a complete mockery, possibly done on purpose. Who knows? But who got Heine Maussan and who organized the whole hearing itself?
It's our hearing next month, and Nick Pope's there.
Oh, fuck off! You're joking.
Yes, I am joking.
Are you seriously fucking joking? Nick Pope.
No, but I feel like I need to start that rumor.
I was wondering when you're going to tell him, that you were just bite. It was a bite. I was wondering when you were going to tell him.
Are you serious, Nick Pope? I mean, who?
No, but I think if it did happen, that's who it would be.
No, Ollie, you're absolutely right. But
because America has its Corbell and Knapp.
Yeah.
Mexico it's Jaime. We'd have to have our Nick Pope.
Yeah.
If France did it, they'd have Jacques Vallée, obviously. Who else?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of other countries, but I'm not that intelligent.
No, I think you're right. They gotta have someone to put butts in the seats, right?
They've got to have a celebrity. They've got to have somebody who's known.
Yeah, but the mainstream media, I mean, Nick Pope is what the mainstream media have on speed dial when they need to talk about UFOs. Oh, talk about UFOs, get Nick Pope in because he's some sort of expert. Guys, he's not an expert. He just looked at documents. He didn't go out in the field. He didn't interview anybody. He just looked at documents. Well, guess what? I did the bloody same as well. I can go on the internet and get thousands of documents. Done exactly the same as Nick Pope, but he's come off as this like credible celebrity now, isn't it? He's done nothing for the community. It's since the bloody 90s.
This is,
but Ollie, I wouldn't be surprised.
Who, other than if let's reverse slightly from Mexico, because I don't know who would put in other than Jaime, who's Mexican, in Mexico, because I don't know any other UFO people over there. But who would you, if you had to put people in that are recognized in the UFO field, Who would you have put in front of the US Congress other than George Knapp and Corbell?
Nick, I'll let you go first.
Oh man. Oh god.
Boy, that's such a hard question.
Do you know, that's a really difficult question. I mean, yeah, they're like celebrities at the moment. They're
Because people
go to
like people get pissed off about these two guys for some reason. Like, and they who else would you have?
I can say this, if he doesn't have to be living, I mean, you could have Stanton Friedman there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
He was, yeah. I think if he was alive, he would be the guy to go to, because he was very, very credible, and yeah, he definitely backed up his statements. Yeah, I would honestly say Stanton Friedman.
If you wanted to have a lot of fun, if he was still alive, you could put John Lear in there. He's a lot of fun. He's my favorite guy to listen to talk. I can listen to John Lear talk about 2 billion people on the moon for 50, 100 hours straight. I wouldn't get bored. It's great.
Watched. I was listening to Weaponized the other day, and it was the old interview with John Lear. That was.
I wish I could have met him so bad, man. I just want to sit there and smoke a cigar and just say, John, how many they got on the moon? Well, they've got 2 billion up there, and they're gonna get our souls. And oh, dude, I would have loved it. My God, that's an amusement park for me, bro.
Corbell was making a documentary with Leo. Like, he must have footage from that.
Yeah, I'm back on Jeremy's channel. There's like 1 or 2 episodes of, like, they're like sections, I think, that he just posted that he was going to do the full Lear documentary. From what I heard, they had a falling out, and I know he talked a little bit about that on that Weaponized episode about John Lear, but I don't know, he made it sound like it wasn't that big of a falling out, but I think it actually was. I think it was pretty bad. Like he said, somebody said he kicked him off his couch, kind of thing. Like they had some real disagreement at that point, but I don't know, it's speculation, you know.
Well, I mean, the thing for me is when I look at these two characters, and I'm from the UK, so like the only person that I could think of would be Nick Pope. Let's believe it. That's a said Nick, right? Who else would you put now? Use it. I mean, alive. Oh man, to represent these 3 chaps.
That's big enough that could maybe, like, because let's be honest, a lot of the really big people in ufology have a lot of faults. So it's almost impossible to pick like this shining example. But if you had to pick somebody, maybe you do Greer, just because he has experience of doing that before, of like pulling something together. And that
Greer already did his, though, kind of.
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Congress one, but he did one.
Yeah, but if you're talking about like he did like the mock-up one.
Yeah.
Right. That wasn't like the actual one where AOC and these people were there. I mean, if you're talking about the one that Grusch and them went to, I mean, if I got to pick, lesser of 2 evils, maybe him. But I mean, you get a lot of baggage, you know.
I honestly don't get the hate for Corbell and Knapp.
I don't hate them. I think a lot of people do, obviously. I don't hate them. I do not like how, I mean, there's a lot of things I don't like, but I don't like how when Corbell's videos especially come out and get scrutinized really bad, and they just don't address them right away. I think if you were really into this to find the truth and you really wanted to do some good things, people will forgive you for mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
We're all human. It's when you try to put up this invincibility, this shield, or this facade that you've always got the right answer. When you do that and you falter, you're going to get hit hard by everybody. You're going to. You're just setting yourself up for as much scrutiny as you can possibly get. Now, if he would have came out like the 29 Palms and said, hey, look, I was wrong, that brings credibility. It does. It's like he thinks that him being wrong loses credibility. No, it doesn't. You fixing your mistake, Jeremy, is where I go, oh, okay. If he does get one right, I can trust it. But I know that if he gets it wrong, he'll admit it, and I can still stay on the path with this guy and feel comfortable getting my information from here. You can't play this know-it-all card. It never works.
So he put the weird orby thing out, the arrow, and addressed and said, "This is the thing that we see most of." So he put that out. Was it how long was it before that? A couple of months.
Yeah, a couple months. Yeah.
He's definitely in the know. People cannot take that away from Corbell and Knapp. They're definitely onto something. And I think when if people pull themselves away from they've made this mistake, they've made that mistake, it's all one big money-making grift. They got a piece of material that Arrow addressed and said, "This is what we see most of, and we don't know what that is." These strange balls, orbs.
Is that what they found in the ocean?
No, it was the have I got a clip? I might have it in my toolkit.
Almost like copper balls, like very tiny.
It was the one that was over. Was it Baghdad? It was over.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about, Ollie. Yeah, okay.
The Baghdad Phantom, the silver ball that went. They were following it with the camera.
That was the one that Arrow played, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, and this is the one that they said, "This is what we see most of."
Yeah,
that was that. Corbell put a still out of that thing.
Yeah,
2 months beforehand. Now
it could have been similar. Yeah, for sure. It could have been linked.
It was definitely very similar to that thing.
Yeah.
Now, I do think that whoever their contacts are feeding them information, and they're like Corbell and Knapp are like, "Just give us it. We'll put it out there."
I mean, it's a tremendous risk, though.
Users.
Yeah, which is a tremendous risk when you make yourself that large of a target, and then you also will allow yourself to be susceptible. You can probably get some hits. You can probably get a few videos that are good or some stills that are actually legitimate. But I would assume that when you open that up, that the evil can come in too, as well as the good. And that's a very, very hard position to put yourself in. So, I mean, I understand that they're going to have misses and hits. They just need to, Corbell especially just needs to own up to them at that point so that they can move forward. But at the end of the day, I don't know how much Corbell really cares about this topic. What? When I look back at a lot of the stuff, his earlier videos on his channel, it just seems like he's, throwing a lot at the wall and seeing what sticks. And it seems like ufology stuck with him. And that's kind of where he's got his most influence and where he's got the most eyeballs. And that's why he stayed there at that point. And, I said this on Lou's shows, which is like, I think if you ask him behind the scenes, "Hey, this video didn't really seem to come out very right," he would say, "Hey, man, it doesn't really matter if it's real or fake. I'm going to get the money and get out of here. They're never going to tell us anyway." So I don't think he really cares where the topic goes, mainly because I don't think he believes that we're ever going to get an answer. And I think that's where people like James Fox and other documentarians, they really take that liberty. And, James Fox said that in an interview a couple months ago. He said, when he was talking about the Virginia videos, he goes, "Even if we had the video and we put it out, no one would believe it anyway." And I think that's maybe the excuse these guys use, Ollie, to produce a lot of this content, because you can't call their bluff. What are you going to say? "Oh, we don't think it's real." People are still going to buy the next one because you can't really prove it.
So James Fox is, for me, he's one of those guys that I've loved his fucking documentaries, and I mean, loved every single, apart from the last one.
Yeah, I didn't even watch the last one, man. To be honest, I heard you had to read the whole thing, so I was out. But
yeah, I'm dyslexic. How do you think I felt? But I do think James Fox is passionate about it. He seems excited about it every time you see him, and maybe that is just part of his personality, but he sells it to me because he looks like he's so fucking like a kid in a candy shop when he speaks about UFOs. Corbell speaks about it like it's Corbell seems like he's doing the hard sell. Sometimes, like he's got that salesman aspect to him when he's which I'm not saying that's a bad thing.
He's a great talker,
and that's not Corbell's a great talker. People bash his documentaries. I actually think he makes a mean documentary. If you don't like his documentaries, that's fair enough.
No, I mean I like the Lazar one. I thought there was a little bit too much of him in it, but I mean you can see him. You know, he wants to put himself in there. I mean it's his stuff. He can do that if he wants. But yeah,
Corbell doesn't believe the UFO phenomenon is real though.
I don't think he does. I don't think.
Now here's the deal. One, the UFO phenomenon is not real. My brain. The UFO phenomenon has been here a long time.
Yes.
Right?
That's not on purpose.
So I think that would. It doesn't seem on purpose. It does seem on purpose.
It does. It does seem on purpose. Sorry, I said that wrong. No, it does. I think he did that intentionally.
I think he plays with us. I think I think he knows what he's doing.
Well, I think he knows you'd clip that and run that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, Well, this is what I mentioned to Lou Wednesday about when he was with Stanton Friedman, and I said I don't know if it's as much venomous as much as it's he knows how to play the heel. He knows how to get attention. And back then, when he was having that argument with Stanton Friedman, that was a while ago, man. That was before he had a real big pop from him. And he knows that if he does blow up a little bit, people are going to go back to that stuff, and it's all attention grabbing. You know what I thought, Ali, was interesting is Dana White, the leader of the UFC, owner. He did an interview with Piers Morgan recently, and he was talking about social media. And this is not like a big, long, drawn out story, but he was just simply saying that, like, you know, when you get involved in this, you have to embrace the negativity, because the negative people are going to sit online all day long, and they're just going to talk about you, and it's going to throw you into the algorithm. And so when you make a clip, if he did, which would be really smart, and Corbell stands there and goes, UFOs aren't real. He might be playing into the negativity a little bit and just pushing that algorithm more and more. So it's very possible. He doesn't look like a dummy. I don't think he's dumb at all. I think he's actually very smart. Yeah, I think he's very, very smart. Now, you know, smart, you can either use that for good or for bad. So it's up to him.
Did you watch the Secure Team 10 interview that I did?
No, it was a while ago, right?
Yes. So Tyler said something very interesting about. I'll bring the clip up.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I
watched so much, Ali. I probably did see it. I don't even know.
I do have a clip of it that I think I clipped for the channel, but it was. So I've had a few Corbells come in after this that I've had to ban from the channel because they're not real Corbells, and I think everybody knows that. But I think we got the. So Jeremy emailed me a few years ago after I put a video out about Bob Lazar, and it came from a company, which was his company, and then it moved on to another email, which he asked for my WhatsApp number to discuss stuff further. Never happened. Never got him on the show. But he wanted to correct me on some stuff about Corbell. We never had that conversation. So, Jeremy, I'm still waiting for that conversation. You have my number. But I think the guy, if he's got, like you say, he knows what he's doing. He's a clever guy. Bob Lazar is probably his greatest product he's ever had. Now, you've got to support that product. So you've got to keep giving that product software updates. If you don't, then somebody's going to go over to Samsung. Greer. Yeah. Greer's Samsung. Greer iPhone, I don't know. But yeah, here's the clip. I'll bring it up because they had. So Tyler did do a lot of promotion for Corbell's movie, the Bob Lazar Area 51 on Flying Saucers. Area 51 Bob Lazar on Flying. Well, I can't remember which way it is, but anyway, he promoted that. Tyler had him and Bob Lazar on the show when that film was about to go live, when it was about to come out, and Corbell, I think it was a month or two ago, was thanking everybody that made that film happen, that promoted that film. He didn't thank the biggest love Tyler or hate him, he has the biggest UFO channel in the world. That interview with Bob Lazar got millions of views, millions.
Yeah.
And I guarantee that probably, I would say at least 100,000 of those people went and purchased that Bob Lazar documentary. So yeah, this was the clip, which I think this is just. I do think this was Corbell. I do think it was Corbell in the chat, because he emailed me before this show, before I interviewed Tyler. I think a couple of months before. Did I bring it up on screen there? Yeah, share screen.
I've seen the logs. I have seen the videos. We have attempted shoot downs of UAPs on a regular basis. We're talking as recently as last Friday.
Houston, Tranquility Base here. The Eagle has landed.
No, it's the same interview. It's the same footage. One of the first pieces of leaked footage that
you mentioned the TikTok though.
That they misled people into thinking the Pentagon had confirmed as alien when it wasn't. Was an out of focus airplane with FAA lights. So that was an out of focus plane. UFOs do not have goddamn safety FAA lights on them.
You're talking about the
Corbell footage, and it all comes from Corbell and his secret source in the military that he won't reveal. And yes, the Pentagon, it confirmed that yes, this came from a sailor on a ship one time, and so they didn't confirm it was a UFO. They confirmed, yeah, one of our military men did film this from the USS Omaha or whatever it was. But look at this thing. I mean, it's it's flashing FAA lights. And this was one of the earliest pieces of footage that was so-called leaked by the Pentagon and confirmed. And it's just, that is a real black eye for this community.
So you think Mick West is debunk on that is spot on?
Yes. I mean, I don't know much about Mick West, but and you have new footage that Jeremy just released of the couple of red dots in the sky that look like drones, and just like,
yeah, I think
I don't know what's going on. It's like, I know Jeremy. He's not a government shill. I know that much, but he's very naive and he likes to see his face on camera. And he's the type of guy who I think would put out shitty footage just like this if it meant him getting more screen time or making more money. And Jeremy, if you're watching, I'm sorry, dog, but that's just how it is. And I'm not lying. I've met you in person. But I have footage on my channel that was featured years ago on Fox News and CNN. And it seems like now that people are actually really into it, they're like really into it. Now all they want to show is shitty, blurry footage. And they've used Jeremy as the mouthpiece for that because they know he will go along.
This is where it comes in the chat.
That will probably later on be debunked as a plane or a bird or what have you. Now that people are interested, the Pentagon and the government, they don't want you. They want you entertained. So yeah, I'll let you look at this blurry FAA light video.
He is here.
They don't want you to hear the truth.
He's in the chat.
What's up, Jeremy? Yeah, he this would be the first time he's spoken to me after many texts.
See, you think so if we go to how they started with the TikTok and
real quick, let's not start a war here, Jeremy. All right, man. I'm just telling it like it is. Yeah, I'm relaxed, buddy. You need to relax. You're the one who came over here. So this is my interview. Go on Don Lemon or something. I'm talking to my boy here.
So you said on your show, I think it was your last show that I watched, that you find that the TikTok is probably one of the most compelling ones. But Tom DeLonge, if it wasn't for his company TTSA, I don't know how much traction that would have had.
And just to clarify really quick, because Jeremy is here, just like I said on Jimmy Church, I think the Go Fast footage and the TikTok footage, those look like things that I have no idea what the hell those are. Those that look like a UFO and infrared. I said that on Jimmy Church. I said,
that was it.
Like, some of these pieces of footage are amazing, but some of them, Jeremy, dude, you know that's an out of focus plane, and for you to have the platform that you have now, and let that footage like that go through when you can see the safety lights. And I don't give a shit how many sailors said that, well, it was a bunch of drones stalking us and this and that. No, because at the end of the day, all that matters is the footage. And I don't see footage of a bunch of triangular UFOs stalking a ship. I see an out of focus airplane or two with FAA lights. And that's the facts. It's common sense. So I'm not trying to dog you, Jeremy. I'm just speaking truth here, and everyone sees it. Even your own fans on your own Instagram are like, enough, give us real footage. You know what I mean? Like, there's no war. No one needs to relax. I'm just talking, truth here. Let's cut the bullshit.
You mentioned when you started out that you put some stuff out there that you just wish you hadn't put out. If you were given that way back when, would have you made that same mistake that you think Jeremy's made and put that out yourself?
Yeah, because back then I had no idea what the hell I was doing. And Jeremy knows better. He's been studying this topic. He knows what he's doing. He's a very smart, intelligent man. You know, very smart, very articulate. He knows his shit. He's studied the phenomenon. And to see footage like that of something that looks like a plane with FAA lights, and for him to post that made me wonder, like, what's going on, Jeremy? Like, I know you're not a government shill. I stand up for you, bro, all the time. I've met you. I've hugged you in person after I promoted all your shit and never got a call from you ever again. So, you know, all I'm saying is, why put out this footage? Why not give out your source? Why don't we have more background info on Elizondo? Why is he sketchy? There's a lot of sketchy stuff going on here. And I'm not saying that Jeremy's working with the government or Elizondo's this or that. I'm just saying that there's things here that don't add up. And when the government is involved, even leaks are controlled.
Yeah. So I brought that up because exactly what you're saying about Corbell. Corbell's a clever guy. The top people in, and whether you think Tyler's top or not, factually he's top. He's still got the biggest UFO channel in the world, and he notices a guy that knows UFO business because he knows it. He admits it in that interview that it's a business, 100% a business. So he knows that Corbell is a clever guy. He knows exactly what he's doing. Does that mean that he's in it for the wrong reason? I don't think so. I don't think that means he's in it for the wrong reason. I think these business ideas that he's had in the past have fallen through. He's got into UFOs. Ginger Steve, my lad. Oh God, because somebody help me out with that one, because thank you for the $9.99, Steve. I appreciate that.
Thank you, Steve.
It's your turn, Nick.
You
right, shall I give it a go?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's really good to come to somewhere that is just tells the truth, that people believe in us. No, it's not. We're going to work, man. Someone.
I'll try. Nick Stoned. It's really good to come to somewhere that just tells the truth, that people believe about this. The military industry complex are now trying to Is that monetize?
Yeah, monetize. Yep.
Monetize their gender. It's transdimensional beings. Mate, you know how I feel about those transdimensional beings. I think I do. So transdimensional beings like that. Am I getting that right? That is something that's existing in the same space and time that we're actually here now. So something could actually be next to me right now in this very room, possibly naked.
Hopefully.
Nipples are involved. Definitely nipples.
Yeah, I think so. But I don't know if that always means that they can see us either, though. I mean, we might not be able to see each other. And it doesn't also mean that we would clash if we didn't see each other. It depends on what they're made of and how that works. Which I don't know, man. I'm not even close to a physicist. I couldn't even begin to tell you anything other than just, fun speculation about it. But I still think that's a possible scenario, though. The transdimensional stuff is very, very interesting to me at that point. I'm not a big guy in that they were here before us. Whatever beings there were.
You mean like something that like we're the second thing on this planet and they were the first?
Yeah, at least not the at least not like the highly advanced technologically ones. I mean, I think that there were other, obviously other civilizations before. I mean, I know Nick, you're friends with Hancock. I think Hancock's got a really great stuff to say. I mean, it's very, very compelling stuff. So I'm with that. But I think when you talk about like the origins of getting here or anything like that, I think that they would have came from here and developed, or we share a space that they've been able to figure out how to kind of slip through that space transdimensionally and work with us that way. Yeah.
It's interesting you mentioned about Greer and Hancock, because I talked about him about the Anunnaki, and he completely dismisses the fact that they ever existed. I know there's carved out of stone, but for the point you're coming across is that did they come from the stars and they made us into slaves to mine gold, and that's like the whole story behind it? Or
no, not that. Yeah, not that. No, I agree with Graham that there have been like older civilizations that have been wiped out and then more people have come out from that. I think his whole theory is I'm talking about the people that were even before them. And I don't know. I don't want to put like Anunnaki on it. I think we're just so far from being able to even speculate if any of that's even true. I mean, I kind of put the Anunnaki next to the blue chicken aliens. I don't know, man. I mean, maybe, but I'm not going to give it, much of a thought at that point. But just from some other civilization, man. I mean, if they were able to get here, and what they were able to do with us. I mean, that's kind of where I land. I mentioned this the other day. I really think that the big reason why they don't tell us is that we have had some kind of engineering, or we have had some kind of interaction that they don't know exactly how these other religions, how these other people would take it, man.
Yeah. It's almost interesting when you look at the pyramids. It's like, how did that technology, for instance, if man did build the pyramids, for instance, put that in hypothetically, how did they manage to get this knowledge from to build such massive structures and to get it right, like first time? Is quite baffling. Did they know this knowledge from their ancestors and then they inherited their knowledge? I mean, it's just sort of speculation.
Who said they got it right first time, though?
True.
Did they inherit? Probably was there in the first place, and then they took it over and then added on to the pyramids. Who knows, really? But the pyramids is a lot older than we originally thought, wasn't it?
Yeah, but I think the pyramids are really interesting. But I think the one section in that area that kind of gets glossed over a lot is that Serapeum. That to me is way, way more convincing that there was some kind of ancient technology before than even the pyramids. Those, whether 50, 75 ton, those big black boxes that they found underground. Yeah. Dude, that is like Egyptologists don't even really want to touch that, because there's no explanation of how they moved those and got those there. Those to me lie really where the key is to understanding even what they did with the pyramids.
Sorry, Ice Cream, what's this?
The Serapeum is this underground kind of cavern area, and I believe it's in Egypt. And they're these giant like tomb boxes, like these giant granite boxes. And the lids are 50, 75 tons, and they're put on top of these boxes, but they're cut perfect. And the lids fit right on the boxes.
Yes,
you had to have seen them. Yeah.
I do. How
Yeah.
far are they under?
Oh God, I can't remember. If I remember right from the video, they go down a little ways. I don't know the exact number, but they go down a little ways in the ground.
The pyramids have zero evidence of anybody being buried in them. Nobody's been buried in the pyramids.
Yeah. I mean, but I think the really interesting thing about those Serapeum boxes is the writing on them seems to be like with lesser tools. It seems to be so much more primitive than what would have a civilization would have been able to carve on them if they could have got those there and cut those up like that.
I know exactly the ones you mean now, because
Yeah.
the actual boxes look like, wow, that is amazing. Then you see the text on the side of them. It looks like somebody's found them and drawn on them.
Yeah, and they blew up one of the lids years and years ago, and just look inside, and they said they didn't find anything. Yeah, I'd wish they could open up the lids on the rest of them to see what's in there. But they were supposed to hold, like, I think they said prized bulls, like bodies of like prized bulls or something like that. I could be wrong, but that's just what I'm remembering.
I mean, taking it back to the ufology.
Yeah, I don't want to go too far.
no, but
I know,
but still to stay on track with this actually, because I assume this is the first time we've had you on. I don't know if I've heard you speak about. I think I have actually heard you mention Lazar on shows. Did you say that you flip-flop between what you believe when it comes to Lazar?
I mean, I've flip-flopped multiple times, but what really does it for me, what kind of put the final nail in the coffin, was him not showing up to Congress. And then especially with what Knapp and Corbell had said the reasoning was, is they said that Bob, well, for one, they said it's not really time yet for Bob. I mean, I think it's any time's a good time for me to put 115 in front of Congress, man. I don't know what that's supposed to mean. But the other big thing that they said is they feel that, or Bob feels that he doesn't owe ufology. And I said, okay, let's think about that. Does he owe ufology? Maybe. My opinion, he does, but let's say he doesn't. Who does he owe? He owes the public. Because when Bob came out originally with Knapp on those interviews, he said that he came out because he feared for his life. So when you come out in a media presentation because you fear for your life and you want help from the public, you owe the public your life if you're telling the truth then, because we kept you alive. So don't owe ufology, Bob. That's fine. You owe the public. So go speak for the public and bring out the 115. And if you don't do that, which doesn't look like we're getting that anytime soon, I think that that's an open and shut case. Bob Lazar, for me, he's gotten so much ridicule over the years. That guy's been raked over the coals a million times. Wouldn't you want to go throw the 115 on the table and get your life back, Ali? If I was him and everyone called me a liar, pimp, every other thing under the book, I would slam that in their face, man. There's no way. If you gave me the opportunity to end that, I would do it. You couldn't hold me back through those doors. And that's the last thing I'll say is that, you know, he's just, I'm losing my train of thought, but yeah, you couldn't hold me back for those doors. And for him to not go, that just is him proving to me that it's not real. Like when somebody calls your bluff, his bluff has been called. He didn't show, man. How can you believe him anymore?
He's out.
I think he's completely out. I don't even I don't mind people talking about him, but if we were going to have a serious discussion about him, I just don't even see how you have one anymore. You know, it's kind of like in the old days when you remember people getting fights at school, Ali, and they would say, let's meet up after school. Yeah, I'm going to meet you up. And they don't show. You don't get any credit for not showing, man.
Yeah, never got any credit for not showing.
But yeah, and then what pisses me off is that now this Project Gravatar that he's doing, he's got time to show up for that though.
Yeah.
Come on, how are we supposed to care? How are we supposed to think he's real when he can't come in the clutch for everybody at this point? He has made money over this stuff, Ali. And
how much has he made though? How much?
I have no idea. A lot, I'm sure. There's no way he didn't get a cut of Corbell's documentary. Come on.
Yeah, must got paid.
Definitely. For sure. I don't believe it. Show me the receipts, man.
Yeah. I don't believe when somebody, because so when Corbell says, well, he never got paid, Bob didn't want anything, but yet how do we know that?
You don't. That's the beauty of it. That's why Corbell hangs out, because he knows you don't know.
I mean, as well, even if even if he worked on a flying saucer, you'd want paying for a big documentary like that if you know the potential that documentary is going to make. Whether you're going to reveal disclosure or not, whether you think you're doing your part for disclosure, you'd want a little bit of the ka-ching, just a little bit, make life a little bit easier.
Yeah, of course.
Mm.
And Bob's a business owner. He wants to make money. He's in there. He knows how to not get swindled in something like that. Maybe he doesn't take $1 million. Maybe
United Nuclear, is it called?
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, which I didn't know, Ali, but he lived like that building was like 15 or 20 minutes away from where I live. And I didn't know that for the longest time. And I was like, as soon as I found out about it, then I heard he moved, and I was like, I should have went up there. I should have went and tried to meet him.
Because didn't he create a car that ran on water or something like that, or like a hydrogen car or something? He was doing something like that, I believe.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation on that though, because when you look at that video, the amount of hydrogen that he had in the back was supposedly not enough to really do anything with it, and then how long it would have took to make all that to be able to really, it was just not really viable, man. Like, there's no way he could have made enough to fill those tanks at his house. That's what I've heard from other people. But I mean, Bob's fun. I mean, the story was fun, man. But he rubs me the wrong way more than anybody, man. Because I really believed in him. I believe there was a lot of potential there. I think like everybody has. I don't know anybody in this field, guys, that doesn't want Bob to be real, or didn't at one time really think he was there. I just don't buy it anymore. He didn't show up.
Do you know the fact that Bob Lazar did do some brothel work? He wasn't being paid to do the stuff, but was he security or something? What was it? I don't know.
He had the brothel. I know he got in trouble for that though.
Yeah, he got so the fact that he did that Grusch has got PTSD. He had a lot of problems with the drinking, this, that, and the other, and his autism. I just look at these people and I look at the other side of it and think, what if these people are perfect? These people are absolutely perfect for this underground government to work on UFOs, to listen to people speak about UFOs. What if these people are just the right choice that you need? Because if anything was to fuck up, you could discredit them. You could rip them to pieces. But if let's just say Bob Lazar, all his credentials all matched up, he was so fucking intelligent. He fit that role perfectly. He was the guy. He had perfect school, college. What do you guys? Is it university over there? It's university.
Yeah, that works. Yeah.
Yeah. All of that jazz. All perfect. I believe that guy more than ever now, because that guy, he fits. He fits. Everything about that guy fits. Grusch. He didn't have PTSD. That guy's solid as a rock. That guy has never drunk a drop of alcohol in his life. Everything about that guy fits. Nothing is bad about that guy's life. So that guy's telling the truth. Do you get where I'm coming from with this?
Yeah. I am. I just wonder if you.
That's just another way I kind of look at it sometimes.
Yeah. No, I think that's fine. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely interesting to look at. I just don't know if you have to. I mean, I'm not saying I'm the smartest guy in the room. I'm definitely not. But I don't know if you have
100% not. Nick is. Nick.
Yeah. He looks. I mean, he looks smart. I mean, he's got me beat with a backwards hat. So, No, I just wonder. Everyone has some kind of thing in their past that they're probably not the most proud of. Do you have to go with? There you go. That's cool. My point is do you have to take someone who was in the bottom third of their class, just to get somebody that has some dirt that you could discredit? I think you could still get smarter people than Bob that you could also discredit. And so I don't know if you have to reach down that low. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
But how low do these people reach?
I don't think they want to go too low. I mean, you're still working with something that we have no idea what it is. I've never seen it before. I mean, I still agree that the odds of us back engineering it, and figuring it out are probably not the all-time greatest. I wouldn't have any problem going along with the story of that they pull the technology out every 10 or 15 years and see where science is caught up. That theory, that could be fine for me. But I also think that it's possible that they were able to crack it in the 40s and the 50s for sure. I mean, it just depends. And this is what I've always thought too, guys. It just really depends on where these things are from. If they're from close to us, then maybe the technology doesn't have to be as advanced as we think for them to back engineer. Now, if they're galaxies upon galaxies away, there could be craft that got here that we've never seen before, nothing even completely like it at all. And we still got it locked up and we can't even open the door on the thing. It just kind of depends on if they dug it up, if they dug it up and maybe that's an inferior technology. I just think the farther that you get to be able to get to us, your technology would have to scale up past that point. It would have to keep getting better to make that distance travel.
Did you hear what Grusch said on Jesse's show? That was something new that we got. He said, I don't know where he's got this from. Nobody does. But he said that these things aren't that much more down the line than we are in terms of where we are.
It's possible.
They're just different. I don't know what I do think someone's given him this information. I don't think he's pulled this just out of his backside. I think
100%. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I would love to know who's. Do you actually think we're gonna find out who's giving this information?
I think we had a real good chance if they give him a clearance. But I kind of wonder if they're pulling an Oppenheimer on him a little bit, and they're gonna. He goes back for the clearance, which is another Bob Lazar thing that's brought up. I find it weird just to maybe touch back on that for a second. But did you see Oppenheimer, Nick, Ali? Did you guys check it out?
No, I haven't.
I am gonna go see it.
Is it worth seeing it?
Is it still in cinema?
Oh yeah. I mean, Nolan's never gonna let that out soon. They put so much work into that movie for theaters. It's all based. There's like 4 different edits of the film.
It looks amazing.
It's good. It's good. But what I found interesting is,
sorry, just quickly. Apparently, the nuclear bomb when it goes off in that is a practical effect, not a CGI.
I could believe it. It looks really good. It's not CGI. No. It gives you that feeling. They did what I thought they were going to do with it. I don't want to spoil it. If I talk too much, I'll spoil it. But they did what I thought. But what I noticed was when Oppenheimer was talking to Edward Teller, and I thought, Edward Teller, okay. And then I thought, Los Alamos, okay. That sounds kind of like Bob Lazar, because I remember Bob talked about not only did he work at Los Alamos, but Bob, original part of his story was that he met Ed Teller. And Ed Teller had the paper that had his rocket car in it, and they spoke. And I thought, man, award-winning physicist, this all-time physicist, how much did Bob model his story off of Oppenheimer? Was he a super fan of him?
Did you ever see the interview with?
And one other thing, really quick, is that Oppenheimer was at MIT, and I said, man, a lot of this stuff. It seems like he's playing it like he's Oppenheimer. Maybe they crafted the character off of him, because I do think John Lear and him talked, and I know they talked before because Lear had an interview with Art Bell where he was saying before Bob went to work at the test site, they had talked about UFOs all the time, multiple times, And John Lear says that the reason why Bob went and tried to get a hold of Ed Teller was to get over into the test site was because Bob started to kind of believe it and get interested. And that's why I thought, man, maybe John Lear and him set this whole thing up as a big ruse. I don't know. It's interesting though.
Did you ever see that clip with where he's asked about Bob Lazar?
Who, Oppenheimer?
Teller.
I don't think that was him. Yeah. No, I didn't see.
Oh, so we interviewed a guy that did a documentary about Bob Lazar called The Lazar Deception. And I have the clip at the beginning, you know, like I do the little beginning clip before I kick the intro in. Give me a second, I'm going to show you it.
Yeah, I'd love to.
So he is asked about Lazar.
But while you're looking for that, yeah, I mean, really, when you guys watch that movie, look at Oppenheimer and then start thinking Lazar and start making those connections. I think it's pretty. They look a lot alike too. It's pretty.
Yeah,
interesting.
they do.
They do.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do actually.
Yeah.
Put the glasses on Oppenheimer. You're looking at Lazar, man. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
This is what the little kind of clip. This is an interview that I did with the guy who has got a Lazar documentary out. It's pretty good actually.
Okay.
But yeah, this is the clip.
Plutonium or look, it is, in my opinion, not interesting. I don't intend to answer it. If you ask me that question on camera, I will shut up. I will sit silent. You're not going to get an answer out of me on that.
Okay. And if I ask you on camera if you know Bob Lazar, can you just say no?
I will sit silently.
Huh.
It's interesting.
Wow, he's very reluctant there, wasn't he?
Well, I got thinking after I did that like intro, but I thought I'll fucking leave it, and it's a bit of drama. It's good for the intro. I thought no, I'm just being honest. I thought like maybe that name just flew straight over his head. Say he had no idea who Bob Lazar was anyway. All the questions that he'd been bashed with through that interview, and then someone said, and if I asked you who Bob Lazar was, he's already like ready to say, no, just don't ask me anymore. You know,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? He
And
may not, he
yeah.
may, but maybe he did. Maybe he did.
To me, he looks pissed off. It looks like maybe he felt like he was a little bit used by it, and he's heard the story and thought, man, this guy's drugged my name into this and doesn't want any part of it, and maybe just doesn't want to give it Bob any more publicity. You know, it's kind of irritated by it.
Yeah, good point. Because that's 1990, wasn't it, on that video?
Yeah, but why not say that? You know, if for some reason, right, say, I don't know, I did something really fucking great in life, and somebody then decided that they wanted to try and, I don't know, bring some things into play for some people, and it was pissing me off, and I just wanted to make some. Well, actually, no, that was nothing to do with it. I didn't know that person. What would be the problem with saying, listen, I've seen this guy. Yeah, he's just full of shit, and I've never met him. Guy's an idiot. Would that discredit anything just for saying that?
I mean, maybe not. I mean, but I think a lot of it is, Ali, have you, or Nick too? I mean, have you guys ever had a family member who's had a problem with another family member, and you go to like, you know, Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever, and you say, hey, don't bring up Uncle Joe to this guy. He doesn't even want to talk about him, you know? Maybe
usually still bring Ollie up. I'm the problem.
Yeah, we're the UFO weirdos, right?
I'm the black sheep.
No, I understand that. I understand that. Yeah, but I mean, I think it could be that way. It could be taken as, you know, he's covering it up. That's fine. I don't have any issue thinking that. But for me, there's a lot of anger in it. He looks mad. And that doesn't look like a cover-up thing. It doesn't look like somebody going, oh, no comment. You know, I don't want to talk about Bob with this. It seems more like, yeah, I don't like that guy. I'm not talking about him.
Yeah, he's very stern. He's
Yeah.
I can see what you're saying. He's very pissed off, and he even said, "Look, I'm very reluctant to talk anything about anything further on this point." You know, so even if you mention Bob Lazar, you ain't going to get nothing from him. So, yeah, where's the full interview of that, Ollie?
Oh, I'll have to dig that out. I got that sent from the guy who I was doing the documentary with. It's in his documentary. So if you go watch, what's it called?
Yeah, I want to watch that thing. Yeah.
His full interview is in the description.
Okay.
It's called the Lazar Deception on my channel. But if you click in the actual description, you'll see his full interview.
Okay, cool. Sweet. I'll check that
Not
out.
interview, sorry, his full documentary.
Cool.
I've got hiccups today for some reason. Strange. I've only drunk
You know,
90.
I just want to go back to Bob Lazar just slightly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Briefly for a second. I remember seeing video footage over Area 51. This is like the back shot, and he had friends with him, and you can see these tiny little balls floating around. Now, what I don't understand is how Bob Lazar knew that. And to bring these people out at the exact time, knowing they're going to have these aircraft floating over Area 51. This wasn't. Have you seen that footage before? It's a very old.
I've seen it. Yeah, it's with him and Lear, and I think Bob's wife. I think went out with him once.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a few people.
I just find that suspicious how he knew that.
Yeah.
And it's nothing special.
Wasn't the excuse that he uses this is the time they test them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard some people say that the reason why he knew when the tests were was because he hung around the bars around that area and talked about other employees that worked there. He overheard a lot of it. I've heard that.
Okay.
I mean, John Lear obviously thought he had the funny saying where he said, he goes, yeah, people say Bob Lazar was a cook. He goes, well, then at the Area 51, they tell the cooks when they fly the flying saucers. Then it was really funny. But that was his excuse. Like, hey, the guy must have known, you know. You're not telling the cooks anything. But yeah, I know that's the biggest thing I've heard, Nick, is that he must have overheard the timings. But who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, I know we didn't stay too much on the NASA stuff. I'll be honest with you. Every NASA presentation I find boring as shit.
There was nothing to go with, man. I listened to it twice. I'm thinking there's nothing substantial to listen to. My dad was like, "Oh yeah, you should listen to."
The most interesting thing was the Grusch and the alien fake bodies. That was it. That's because everything that could have been interesting, they didn't tell us. We don't know his name, her name. We have no idea.
Yeah, we could have looked all that up and, you know, found out who the guy was, where he's from. That's the weirdest part. And it's like, that's not the way for NASA to open this. And this is what I tweeted about maybe Wednesday is when it was. It was like, how do you expect people to not think there's a conspiracy? Even NASA is now saying, trust me, bro. Even NASA is saying that. Yeah. Like, what part of me do you want me to believe? I mean, I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah, I think just NASA's just getting on the gravy train. But bear in mind, they did announce they had the program. They're going to look into UAPs, and I think it was about time for them to come forward. I mean, they just had the report, so I think it's just about time just to put that out there and see what the public make of it. I've a bunch of nothing, to be honest with you.
I would like somebody that was in that who was asking questions, just to say to NASA, okay, so you've been very transparent when it comes to UAP, to what you're going to find. Can you please tell us, if you've been transparent, what did Buzz Aldrin mean about the monolith on Phobos? Would that not be a good question to ask? Because he mentioned that, you know, what I'm gonna get the clip up for you, Nick.
Yeah, you're not seeing that. Good. Oh, it's good.
Are you talking about the structures on the moon? It's almost like a monolith.
No.
On Mars's moon, Phobos.
he goes, Ali, he goes, what's that there? What's that?
Yeah.
He's so funny, man.
So that.
There's a monolith on
Yeah, he's a funny guy to
Phobos.
listen to talk to.
Who put that there?
Yeah, that was what he said. Who put that there? Yeah.
God? Maybe.
Just Buzz Aldrin.
Man.
Yeah,
Buzz, yeah.
It shouldn't be too hard to find.
I think it's on C-SPAN where he's on yeah, I think it's C-SPAN he's on.
I'll just type in YouTube Buzz Aldrin monolith. Listen, I've just typed in Buzz Aldrin and it's like the third one down.
Oh, you got to pull up the clip of him punching that guy. Put your hand in the Bible and say he went to the moon. He punches him in the face.
Oh
man,
it's a good punch stuff.
I did the Goof On's intro.
Yeah,
I did that.
Oh, did you? I wonder who did. It's very well done, dude. The music is really good.
I didn't do the music. I think Scott helped him with. I think Rich did the music, and I think Scott Spaced Out Radio did the Goof On Radio. Helped him out with that. But yeah, I did the intro for that.
Yeah, I love the Bigelow clip where he goes, "It's not gonna make a difference." You know, he's so funny too, man. I mean, that I don't have much faith in Bigelow. I don't have much faith in like the tarot card readers, psychics, and he's big into those. So he takes a hit for me. Even though obviously no contractor for NASA, big money. It's always these big billionaires, you know, Fugal, and they're always looking for the money. Here you go. Yeah, C-SPAN. Yep.
Fugal. Now he'd be an interesting guy to speak.
I'd talk to him. Yeah,
I definitely would.
Habitation on the moon. We can visit other people with their habitation. We can keep track. If there's something very important to be developed from the moon, I'm not sure what it is right now. And I sure think we should identify what it is for America to make such gross expenditures again for human habitation on the moon. We can help. We can join with. Together, we can explore the moon and develop the moon. We should go boldly where man has not gone before. Fly by the comets, visit asteroids, visit the moon of Mars. There's a monolith there, a very unusual structure on this little potato-shaped object that goes around Mars once in 7 hours. When people find out about that, they're going to say, who put that there? Who put that there? Well, the universe put it there. If you choose, God put it there. Maybe
he's as stoned as I am.
What a clip, though. I mean, what an all-time clip. Yeah.
Have you seen that thing? Have you seen that thing though? It's weird. It's like,
oh yeah,
it is like I mean, it's rounded and then it's straight and then it's
straight up.
I mean, it doesn't look natural. I have to say that.
No.
Have you seen the Tower of Babylon on the moon?
Yes.
It's almost like the same sort of structure. It's, I wouldn't say like a monolith, but it's a big, like huge tower, which is quite fascinating to see. But there's monoliths everywhere on Mars.
Well, I say I've seen them. I say I've seen all these things, but I've seen what they want us to see.
Right.
Yeah, they blurred a lot of it, didn't they?
Because, do you know, so I started this channel, as some of you may know, like doing Mars, moon anomalies and stuff like that, and looking at Curiosity rover, going to Google Moon, going to Google Mars and zooming in. How do they, I mean, when people are looking for anomalies on there, I just think to myself now, they just show you what they want you to see.
Yeah, now, yeah. I know that Lear used to order the prints back in the day of the moon when he used to blow the. Yeah, he used to get the images. That's what we talked about, at least, you know. But he had that one image on his wall of the moon that showed like a factory, he said, and it was, you know, obviously it's really blurry. I wish I could have got that photo. Somebody's got that big poster, that shot of the moon. I'd love to have that. But yeah, he used to get the prints and blow them up and take a look at them. But I don't know. I mean, go ahead. Yeah.
Have you ever seen the one that little picture that was of NASA where there's the blonde haired guy and somebody else on a computer, and there's that piece of that there's something on the table, and it's a plan, and you can see the moon's surface, and it has that square.
No, I haven't seen that.
Holy, now that'd be
cool.
That's interesting, because that NASA did put that out, and I it's now I'm looking at it and thinking, shit, was NASA trolling us with this?
I mean,
Really?
NASA definitely has a lot of imagery, man. I think that they have a lot more answers than they'll ever put out. I mean, it's why can't we see more of their like they're gonna have satellite imagery that's as good as, well, at least maybe somewhere near as good as what the military has. We could look at stuff that they've got. I'm sure they have. NASA just is all part of this whole thing of they don't know how to tell us, guys. You know, how do you tell this? How do you tell us this secret? Like, if it had to do with religions, and it would tear moral fabric of society if that's what's going on. If it's a creation situation, how could you do that? I don't know. It's really rough to think about it. It's more than just money. How do you explain to the Middle East that their religion's wrong, that they've been fighting and killing each other for all this time for no reason? How do you do that? It's not as simple as, oh, it's not going to come out because they make, $50 more because they did this or that. I think it's way more complicated than that. There's no way it's not. If it wasn't, I think they would already told us.
Had all this time, decades and decades.
Yeah.
They would have found at least something. They've been watching the skies for how many decades now? Since the 50s, since Bernard von Braun, put it that way. They should have had at least something with the amount of satellites and how far what's the oldest probe that's been in space? Is it the Hubble telescope? I think that's one of the oldest one. Yeah, I mean they've had.
Oh, it's old. Yeah, Hubble's old, but I don't know if it's the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's still taking photographs. And they don't show anything. I mean, Ice Cream, I was just going to show. Interesting to get your opinion on this. Have you seen the galaxies of what NASA produces, the galaxies and the Milky Ways? Do you think that's true, or is that fake, or is it a lot of it's been altered?
I think it's real, and what I think it is when they show those big pictures of all you're talking about, like all the galaxies everywhere, all that.
Yeah,
I think it's them laughing at us, saying these guys think we're the only ones here. Look at this, ha ha ha. We can put this right in front of them, and they really think that we're the only special ones.
Yeah,
even though we show them all this other stuff. Yeah, I think they kind of troll us with it. I do.
Yeah, it's like going back to Mars. Is every time they produce a Mars photograph, the atmosphere is always orange, and I'll know for a fact it's actually blue. And every time I see a Mars photograph and it's orange sky, I think, no, don't believe it at all. Don't believe it.
Yeah, I've heard that the colors. I mean, they're what they say is that the colors are not real. That those are superimposed, essentially. Like they have some idea of the math of what the colors would be. I can't remember exactly how they do it, but I know that the colors are something that they digitally do. They've said that for sure before.
Okay, right. Because the probes that they put in back in the 70s on Mars. I mean, they've got 25 probes on Mars, since the 70s, I believe. And the original photographs were a blue atmosphere. Now it might change over time, if it's got like a storm or something like that. But it's very interesting. But yeah, I was just glad to get your opinion on it, because a lot of people say, no, this is fake. Because they faked the moon landings, they faked this and faked that. So they can't possibly produce, galaxies and Milky Ways. But it's amazing photographs, isn't it? When you look at it, it's just too clean, it's too pristine. But fascinating on at least. It's amazing.
So
yeah,
boys,
I love those photos. Yeah, go ahead.
This is. Have you seen this?
No, I don't think I've ever seen this image before. No.
So can you see the mouse?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, can you see me circling there on the TV screen, and it's got something in a square? I think they're trolling us here because so you see this piece of paper?
Yeah.
Watch me zoom in this piece of paper.
Oh, I can already see it.
So I know a lot of people with this sort of stuff say this stuff is bullshit. But this one, this is a really old video. Hence why I'm actually recording on the Mac webcam and leaving the webcam.
Really that sepia tone you got on you, man. That's high quality.
Yes. But look at this. Look at this.
Yeah.
But you see the thing, but when you're looking at that, that It could be a rock that's just made that shape. But did you see the monitor as well?
Yeah, it's different colors. It's highlighted.
No, but the monitor is highlighting
Yeah.
that square.
Yeah, it is. They've got like arrows coming off it, like green arrows, almost.
Yeah.
Yeah, NASA's a weird one, man.
Yeah.
There's no way
Never
that
a
they don't
straight
have more
answer.
information. There's no way they don't have more information than not telling us. I just don't buy it, man.
Hmm.
They're the ones that are looking at the sky all the time. They're dealing
Also-
with that stuff all the time.
Also, something really like that I noticed after I did this video. So you see this, forget that. You see this here.
Ah, yeah.
Have you noticed this one's the same?
Oh wow, it is. Yeah, it's like a
Oh, yeah,
clone
yeah, it
stamp in
is.
Photoshop. Yeah. Well, look under his arm. Look at right in the middle of his arm. That kind of looks like another version of it. See how that kind of jettisons into that diamond again? You can kind of see like half the diamond.
Oh, there.
Yeah, yeah, right there. You can kind of see it again.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this I only noticed these two after, because I thought, because I watched the video back and thought, how can I improve this? Well, maybe do some proper editing and don't just shove yourself on screen and press record screen. but this one here, I didn't find this. It was my good friend Will from What's Up in the Sky 37 that never makes videos anymore. I wish he would. He used to be a great like NASA Mars Anomaly channel. Great. He put this out first, and then I put it out after him. But this here is what he presented out, and then I realized after I put the video out and I watched my video back, I was looking at these and going, "What are these two things here?" Because they look exactly the same. Never mind that. What are these two things?
They look huge too. They've got to be like really, really big, right? Because that foot image is way back.
I mean, unless in this, by looking at this image, we're all assuming this is the moon and it's actually Earth.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And
No, you can see the craters on that. You can see the craters already on that.
I know, but I'll say that now because the way we are now, that bit of conspiracies kind of left me, and I'm willing to say, well, it might be Earth, it might be Afghanistan or something like that we're looking at. Why is NASA looking at Afghanistan? I don't know, but I don't think it is. I think it's.
That's an interesting way to look at Afghanistan. Yeah, could be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In all honesty, if it was something on the moon, they would easily airbrush that out. And why would they have that photograph there when they know they've got a photographer there as well?
That photo wasn't on. That photo was kind of like, I think it was on like a video still of the NASA office.
Oh,
and,
okay.
Yeah, and they didn't just put it out, but.
Oh, I see. Right, it's a part of the video. Right, gotcha. Ollie.
It's part of it, yeah. But I'm gonna debunk myself now because I said Afghanistan. I said Afghanistan, didn't I? But like I'm looking at that, but then I'm looking at this, and that is clearly the moon there.
Yeah, I was just gonna say you stole it right from my brain. I was gonna say I see why you think it's the moon because it looks like the moon right next to it in the other monitor. Yeah, I mean, for sure.
Yeah. So. I
don't know. The moon's a whole nother can of worms, man.
Yeah. I tell you what, talking about the moon, check out this guy's YouTube channel. He's got his name's John Leonard Wilson. And you can see that there. But it's John Leonard Wilson. He's got an amazing telescope, a powerful telescope. He can see right into the craters on the moon. He has got UFOs coming out of the moon itself, like tiny. Honestly, it is.
Well, you're gonna send me that because I've seen a few of those, and there's a few of those that I've seen are definitely fake.
Yeah.
But if he's got a channel that's dedicated to it, and that's all he's doing,
mate, I've just sent it to you now.
Could be a different guy too, Ali. Might not be the same guy. The guy who did the fakes.
Could you remember what the name of the guy who did the fakes?
You see, you never remember the guy's name. Well, you don't.
Well,
Do
this
you?
guy.
You just remember the fake.
Well, I just feel like it's like you look at some of that stuff and
no,
you're like,
no, this is
oh, it
not
looks
it.
fake, and then you just kind of brush it off and move on. Sometimes you just don't even look at the name, you know?
Oh, this is worth a
Yeah.
look. Yeah, I'll subscribe to that.
Yeah, have a look. Honestly, it's worth, because he's got, I can say, genuine stuff that he's put forward, definitely. And he's English guy, and people's over time
he's
money.
Credible then. He's English.
It's
not American.
It's definitely credible there. Yeah, wait until the Congress hearings we have here. It's going to disclose everything.
Nick
But
Pope,
no,
Nick Pope
honestly,
people. Nick Pope people out. What is it? What's the date? Yeah, Nick Pope will be doing the UK. We don't call it Congress here, but Nick Pope will be doing the UFO hearings in the UK on the 27th of October next month, and we're going to leave it at that. Let's just see
see what catches fire.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, where do you think, Ali, and because it's the first time I've ever got to sit and talk to you, Nick, as well. I mean, where do you guys see this topic in, let's just say, 10 years? Where do you feel like we go from here?
Well, I'm going 2 ways. Either one, Project Bluebeam, fake alien invasion. I've been hearing that all my life, but I'm going to give it benefit of the doubt. Or we're going to go on the same path like we are now. A bit of this, a bit of that, then it dies down. It's just a continuous cycle. It's like I was going to describe it as like a really shit hand job, but I'm not going to go there. It's just basically we're feeding shit, but we're getting nowhere. And it's just a continuous cycle. It's been an amazing year, don't get me wrong, in terms of what's happening in ufology, what's going on. But I just don't think we're going to go anywhere with it. So time will tell. We'll see if Grusch brings out his evidence. We'll see from there. But I haven't got my hopes up at all.
What do you think, Ali?
Well, Grusch, I don't think he can bring any evidence because he's got no evidence to bring. He's just got stories to bring that he's been told from people who he must consider like the dog's dick when it comes to this field. Like literally, he like you can tell just from speaking to him that he has that trust in these people. That's fucking dangerous. If these people are lying and then manipulating people like Grusch, that's the big thing. That's the big question. Why do we need to think this thing's real? And you spoke about Bluebeam there, Nick. I feel a bit embarrassed to say this, but I spoke to my wife, I spoke to my mum and dad this year, and I said, if all of a sudden there's reports on the news of fucking aliens, an invasion, anything like that, ring me first. Don't panic. Don't believe it. I actually said that. I said those words. I never thought, and I actually laughed as I was getting in the car when I left my mum and dad's. And this was a few months ago, and I said this to my mum and dad. But I've said this to my wife for quite a while now, jokingly. I said, if it ever happens, babe, don't worry about it. There's nothing going on. You can trust me. We'll just set it out. We'll be fine. A bit like COVID. I feel like Mum and Dad might be ringing me one day and going, do we need to worry? I do feel like it's on the cusp of that. I hope that's not what it is. I hope after all this shit, we're not just going to get somebody trying to trick us into believing something, because I don't think Bluebeam will work. I can't see how they could pull that off. And like people laughed when we spoke about the Peru aliens miners. But what's more ridiculous, we asked, miners with jetpacks or aliens? Now, I would say miners with jetpacks is a lot more ridiculous than.
It's close, but if you had to choose, yeah, I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, definitely.
But that was a very remote area that reports were coming out of. And now, if they want to test a blue beam or they want to test something to scare a small population to test it, that would be the right place to do it. That would be the perfect place. Only they fucked up and it got out. That would be my guess with that Peru thing. Like, if it wasn't miners with jetpacks, then I mean, come on, people. Miners with jetpacks, you can't buy that shit. Seriously. Believe in the aliens, don't believe in the miners with jetpacks.
Yeah, it's rough.
I don't know, boys. I think where it's going is I think we're probably going to be in a few years' time, probably getting excited about something completely different to what we're talking about tonight. Or maybe we'll go, maybe we'll just go in full circle and be talking about fucking China.
I don't understand.
She's always listening. Maybe we'll be talking about Chinese alien bodies. I don't know. Who
More
knows?
paper mache and clearly fake alien props.
I just hope it doesn't
come to that.
I hope it hasn't destroyed itself by then, because I don't think
That's
it
what
will.
I'm
But I do. I said to Lee, because I mean Lee was, I think he may be still a little bit into the whole Mexican alien thing, because he's like, but what if that is right? Even though they've told it and debunked it years ago, what if that is the actual right one? And you have to wait for Sunday for that, because he's got some sort of theory on this. It's going to be fun. I'm like really like with those alien things. I'm like, I could fucking make that. Definitely make that.
Anyone could. My nephew, who's 2, can make that, Ollie.
I don't believe it, but I do think it's. I think it's broken. I think it's definitely broken. I think what's happened this year's broke it.
Well, this is what I didn't get to ask Lou yesterday. I kind of forgot to, but this is anyone I get to talk to at this point in the field. I always want to ask this, and you might not have an answer, but have you ever thought, is there a breaking point for you? What would have to happen for you to wash your hands, never post on Alien Attic again, and say, you know what, I'm done with this whole ufology thing. It's over. Do you have a moment in time, like a breaking point?
Alien vaccines.
Man, yeah, it's rough.
I don't want to get into that, but
yeah. That's a Rockfin show, right?
It's a Rockfin show. But yeah, that would be the breaking point. Something like that. If they try to make me do something, I'd shut the thing.
we can't see.
I'd shut it down. I'd shut it down.
It's interesting. What about you, Nick?
Oh, breaking point. Blimey, I don't know.
It's hard. It kind of is, yeah.
It really is different. I mean, to be honest, I'm going to be honest. If they came forward and gave us evidence, shows of aliens, the aircraft and everything, the flying saucers, people won't give a shit. People don't give a shit. My girlfriend, we had this conversation. I said, if we actually had proof of aliens, actual proof, not fake, oh, don't care, whatever. Back on computer games. And I think this is what's going to happen, really. I think this disclosure will happen, but it's going to be a long process. I'm not saying it's going to happen this year. It might be 20 years. You never know. Might be talking about this 20 years' time. Who knows?
It's so funny you should say that, Nick. I had a bit of an experiment with these Mexican Peru aliens. I showed my wife the presentation. My wife's from Ecuador, so she speaks fluent Spanish. And the presentation doesn't seem acted at all. I showed her it, and I said, "This is it, babe." I already knew that I'd seen Jaime stuff before. I'd seen the alien that were like that, and I'd seen these two because these came out back. Was it 2016? They came out ages ago, but they've just been reintroduced, just like the American one where we got Fravor. The information was already out. We got Grusch. The information was out 2 months before that, and we got Graves, and the information was out around about when Fravor came out. And the same thing with Jaime, with these little aliens. But my wife hadn't seen that, so I showed her this, and I said, "This is it. We've got aliens." I said, "The channel's going to explode." I was just like messing about, just seeing what she'd say, and she was like, "Oh, right, yeah." I says, "They look weird, don't they? Look," and I'm like, there was no kind of like, holy crap! Like there was none of that. She was like, it was almost like, "Don't forget that you're gonna pick my mom up tonight. I've just told you there's fucking aliens." My mate texted me about this. He said he sent me this a TikTok with this alien Jaime Musan body and said, "What's this?" And I said, "Well, they've got aliens. The Mexican government's pulling it. They're basically giving disclosure." And he's like, "Well, what else do we know about them?" And I says, I can't tell you much more about that than I know already. So I'm winding him up for a bit just to see what he says about it.
It's interesting, yeah.
And then he starts to go on to a different subject. So he's been round here tonight, and I said, "By the way, I said that's all fake." But he didn't. When he came in, he came in this house because my wife's mum works for. Well, she used to work for this company that can get like discounts off like light fittings and stuff like that. So I picked these light fittings up for him because he's just bought a new house, and I brought them back here, and he came to pick them up. He didn't even ask me about the aliens, and then he kind of like we mentioned it because I was doing the thumbnail and that for Sunday's show, and he says, "Oh, you're doing that then?" And I'm yeah. I'm showing, and we're doing the aliens that have just been disclosed to the entire world. No interest whatsoever. Then I told him about it, but still no interest. So I honestly think if a disclosure happens for the majority of the human race, I don't think people will be that bothered. I think people will be quite happy to go back to social media. Maybe they'll do it. Maybe people do some social media about it, but people just won't give a fuck because that's the way we are now. For a lot of people, I think some of that, and that makes my wife sound bad, but she's not. She's just had years and years of alien shit from me, so she's probably fed up of it.
There's a quote that George Carlin said. He says that the public are distracted by technology, gadgets, and gizmos. That's what they're surrounded by: social media, technology, gadgets, and gizmos.
Absolutely.
And even as disclosure did come, I mean, we've just proved it, just right there. People wouldn't give a shit.
I mean, I want the technology, you know. That's
exactly, same here. I want the technology. I want to see it. It's about bloody time as well.
Yeah, I mean, meeting them or something would be cool, I guess. But at the end of the day, the technology is what I want. I want to be able to, have breakfast in France and then get, sushi for lunch in Japan and then come home in time for dinner. That sounds awesome to me.
All for $10.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, I want the technology, man.
Absolutely. Yeah, same here. I think it's about time as well.
Speaking about time, we've gone for 2.5 hours, boys. Definitely. Nice. Nick, tell the audience where we can find you. I know your channel's not going to be called Investigate with Nick. You're still working on that.
You won't find me on any social media because that is Satan's asshole. But you can find me on Investigate with Nick. I will change my name at some point. So if you see my name different next time on Alien Addict, you know why. But I'll put an update video for everyone. I have some very juicy things coming up in the pipeline. But yeah, time will show its face.
But the channel is staying the same channel. It's not a new channel.
It's gonna stay the same, but I'm just gonna change the name at some point.
It's in the description, people. Go check it out. Do me a solid. Subscribe to Investigate with Nick. Good friend of the channel. Supports the channel. I respect him dearly. Good man. Ice cream. It's not ice cream.
It is on Twitter. Ice cream shots on Twitter.
I know it's that on Twitter. Yeah,
I know. I just
it's a good name. It's a good name, mate.
It's
Terrestrial
a gamer
Material.
tag. The channel. Yeah, Terrestrial Material. Yeah, it's because I just I want to.
Yeah, Ice Cream Shots is a good name, but it's not a good name for UFOs.
No, it's not. It's a gamer tag thing from like 2008. But yeah, Terrestrial Material. It just kind of hit me. It was like I didn't want to say extraterrestrial material. That's kind of kitschy and kind of stupid. But we didn't want to only talk about UFOs. We wanted to talk about gaming and MMA as well. If other topics came up that we liked. But yeah, so all the things that us terrestrials are into, terrestrial material. So it's like the stuff that we like. But yeah, we do go live on Saturdays on YouTube at 7:15. And that's going to
You got a show tomorrow.
We do. Yeah. Yeah, which I got to figure out, Ali, how I'm going to break up these last 3 events across these shows because there's so much to talk about. But yeah, tomorrow, and it's Eastern time in the U.S. And yeah, we've got 6 or 7 episodes. We're just getting started and getting the flow of everything. So it's been a lot of fun, though, man. And I can't thank you enough for having me on, brother. I mean, I always wondered, if I get my channel moving at all and maybe make some noise, I could come in here and talk with you guys, dude. It's very cool.
You should have just emailed me. Anybody who wants to come on the show, if you got a decent voice for this type of field, I honestly don't care. As long as you're a decent person, you can come on the show. That's my email. Literally, I had to find Ice Cream Shots.
I know.
Yeah. I bet. Tonight, I'm like, be honest, Stu. It's kind of like a blessing in disguise. Not for Stu because he's got some shit going on. But I'm like, I need to get another guest in tonight. And as I was thinking, Stu messaged me. I'm literally watching Blue reviews, and I'm thinking, who's this guy? How do I get him? Because I've seen him on loads of shows. How do I get this guy? Maybe I can get this guy. And I'm like, wait. And then you mentioned the channel because it came to the end of the show, and you mentioned the channel name. So then I just typed it into YouTube. Then I saw your Twitter, and I went, how'd you fancy coming on, mate?
I appreciate you doing the legwork, man. I guess I got to change it then for sure. When I first started jumping into these channels and when I made the channel right away, I didn't know how some people are about like cross promotion. If I just instantly change it, I'm Ice Cream Shots every other time, and then I'm just Terrestrial Material. Maybe they're like, hey, you're putting your show over here or something. So I've always been a little bit leery of doing that. I only ask for promotion or anything like that if people are okay with it. I don't force it on anybody, No.
But I want people to go over to
this for sure.
Channel. He at the end of the day, mate, you have a good voice. Like Nick here. I notice things in people because my channel is me, and I've been accused of this. I am a bit of a drama queen. I was before. I don't do so much of that anymore because I'm kind of like bored with it. But the drama stuff with me, when I wanted to do the drama, all I wanted to do was get people talking about the field and getting that bit of controversy when it comes to. I didn't want to get somebody calling somebody XYZ, and then that was never my thing. My thing was having disagreements when it comes to this subject because I think that is needed.
Absolutely.
Yeah, disagreements are needed. Yeah, disagreements are needed. It's just how you have them. I mean, me and Lou, I think, had a really like almost a model
Excellent.
conversation of like how you should do it. I mean, he has his view, I have mine, and we walked away with our own views, and nobody screamed, nobody yelled, nobody called him anything, or it was just like, hey man, thanks for the conversation. See ya. You know?
I think Lou will like me too. I'd love to get you back on. I definitely think Lou, like he was intrigued with you, like when you came on.
I hope so, man. I just try to be me. That's it, you know.
Well, I think I liked the way you called him out when it comes to this field. Like I said the same thing when I had him on the last show. I kind of just said, Lou, there must be a reason why you're still here. You know, I can appreciate the fact that how you feel because you got burnt with this subject, but there must be some reason why you still stick around. Because I have a lot of respect for that man, because he anybody that calls him out and says you're just doing this for views, you're just doing this for clicks, blah blah blah. That man destroyed a fucking channel and has worked and has had to rebuild now from what he already had. He was having all the top players coming on that show.
Yeah, he did.
So so whatever you might, whatever your opinion is of Lou, he ain't a grifter.
No, I would never think he's a grifter. No, I mean, at the end of the day, I give the guy credit. He took a beating and then came back, you know. And I'll tell you right now, Ali, and I know you're trying to wrap up the show. I don't want to pull too much out more at this point, but when I don't know if you've seen him play the clip of them laughing at his channel on Fessler. Did you see that where Sean Cahill and them, and in the background you hear that audio of him saying couldn't be UCR?
Yeah.
Man, that was hard to watch, because I put myself in his shoes and I thought to myself, well, what if I thought I was friends with these people and they got on that show and they said, well, could be worse, could be on Terrestrial Material. People who I thought were my friends, that ripped my heart out, man. That ripped my heart out, dude. 100%. And no matter how thick-skinned you are, when a friend turns their back on you like that, it hurts, man. Probably more than most. And
there was a jealousy for that show, though. Because
for sure.
Lou run a great show.
Yeah,
he does run a great show, but the UCR, like, despite what you may have thought of that with like all the guests that he had on, that's what you were there to see.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I don't get, the people's bullshit when it comes to, oh, he's got XYZ on, he's a faker, he's a fraudster, blah blah blah. You watched it, you enjoyed it.
Well, that's why I watch so many other channels, because I can't get to the truth, Ali, in an echo chamber. It's impossible. I need to me, the truth is somewhere in the middle, and you can't just live on one team. No. You know, and then you have to find the middle. You have to hear the other side. There's just no other way, man. If I would have, when I was coming up, Ali, if I just would have only listened to, you know, only Greer and only Linda Moulton Howe and only Richard Dolan and all these people, I would only get one side. And I don't want that. I mean, it's stuff like, you know, like Manny's Who's Lou documentary. Dude, the last 2 years, Ali, it's changed me on this topic a lot. His stuff, Green Street stuff, my opinion has changed drastically in the last 2 years on this entire topic. You know, I was really big with TTSA when they came out, which I don't know how many people weren't, if they want to be honest about it. I mean, everybody, oh, I knew. Sure, dude, whatever. I mean, great.
I almost invested, almost.
Yeah.
I had a, and I hope one day we make friends, but me and Osvaldo Franco, he put money in TTSA, and he didn't like my outlook of, he didn't like my way of thinking when it came to TTSA. He had invested shares in there. Like, we fell out.
Yeah,
like I didn't expect that. But
I mean, where would I be if I never would have looked up these other channels, your guys' channels, Rich's channels? You know, I mean, Cambion does a tremendous job too. I mean, everybody plays a part. And you have to have that. And this is the last thing I'll say is that, everyone who gets really mad at people like Rich or like Cambion or like you guys for, speaking your mind, maybe on more of a skeptical side, we have to let it go. Greenwald, Green Street, these people they're helping you, man. You want the truth? They're helping you get that. They're not trying to take that from you. These are the first people that if they feel they had a video of an alien walking around, they're going to promote it. You think they're going to cover it up? But you need people like Mick West. You need people to come in here and knock out a lot of the crap that's here. We can't get to it without it. We have to let these people be on both sides.
I mean, look at tonight. We've just reminded people in an old video that NASA does have a base on the moon.
Yeah, I know.
Or somebody else does.
I mean, yeah, I'd love for them to have one there. I don't know. I'm not completely sold, but I'd love it, man. It's fun to talk about. But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm not trying to be some savior for ufology. I know it maybe comes off as that some people I'm trying to bring everybody. I'm not Jesus, man. That's not my point. It's just that I want the truth, and the more divided we stay, I'm not going to get that, man. I won't. I don't think I will.
Well, boys, it's been a pleasure. Ice cream shots. Links are in the description, people. It is what's the name again?
What? Terrestrial Material.
Terrestrial Material.
That's right. That's right.
I've had 4 beers. So you can let me off with that.
No, you're great.
It's in the chat. People, go subscribe. Investigate with Nick. Go subscribe. It is in the description. And it's going to be fire, people. Absolutely.
Anytime, Ollie. Let me know. I'll come on anytime, brother. This is great. It's a lot of fun.
I'm gonna play us out with tomorrow's intro because people don't normally make it to this far, and if they do, the hardcore. So you're gonna see tomorrow's intro. This is going to be tomorrow's show, people. Tomorrow, Sunday's show.
Has NASA been in touch with the Mexican authorities about the rather sensational revelations earlier this week of 2 allegedly non-human corpses? And what, if any, importance do you attach to these discoveries?
I think David had a prep for that one.
Well, this is something that I know I've only seen on Twitter. So it's, when you have unusual things, you want to make data public. I think of this as like NASA has one of the most valuable samples from outer space, lunar rocks. What do? We make them available to any scientists who want to work on this. We don't know the nature of those samples that were shown in front of them. If I was the Mexican government, I would are making recommendations to the Mexican government. That's not our charge here. We're doing this for NASA. My recommendation was if you have something strange, make samples available to the world scientific community, and we'll see what's there.
I'll just add that one of the main goals of what we're trying to do here today is to move conjecture and conspiracy towards science and sanity, and you do that with data, as David says, and that's the whole purpose of this study.
No se trata de seres que fueron recuperados en naves que son estrellamientos, sino son seres que estaban sepultados en minas de diatomea.
That motherfucker is not real!
Nipples.